Welcome to the Fullcaster Podcast, episode 28. Our guest today is Dante Yu. I think a lot of people in the paddock will know him as one of the top drivers in senior ranks for sure. But I remember watching him all the way from the cadet game, so it's going to be kind of fun to get him on here. And I know he's done some stuff overseas as well, so that's going to be cool. But before we do that, let's knock out some current events so we can get to the fun stuff with Dante. We are recording this on... Oh, we always forget
Monday
to do
or
that.
Tuesday,
12th.
Monday
the 12th.
Yeah.
That's right. I think we're getting mixed up because the Tuesdays is when we always put out the next one. We got one coming out tomorrow with Mark Connell, so that'd be cool.
Oh, I gotta do that post.
Nice,
I should
yeah.
do that after this.
Oh, remember, yes. Yeah. April 12th, Monday, right here in the middle of the month. Something I didn't write down in our current events here, or in my notes anyway, was we did eclipse 10,000 downloads in the first full year we were open, so that's pretty damn cool.
Right around the 1 year mark, which is even cooler.
Yeah,
so,
just shy of it.
it was kind of a slow build up, obviously, because it was a brand new podcast.
Right.
But now our goal has been with every episode within that month having 1,000 downloads.
Try to get 1,000.
Right now we're right there, which is
Yeah.
consistent, which has been awesome.
I didn't look at it the last few days, but we were in the 11,000 range-ish already, so it was pretty damn cool. And we appreciate everybody, listening to it, sharing it, telling people about it.
The one person in Alaska, you're
yeah,
really
whoever that dude. If you listen, let us know.
Yeah, if you're the person in Alaska, comment on the YouTube post or Facebook, whatever, dude. Let us know which one you are.
You just got 5 seconds of, it's not fame. It's Fullcaster Podcast, so it's anti-fame. Anchorage, Alaska. Listen to the karting podcast. I love it. And I have no idea. Is there karting in Anchorage? I'd love to find that out.
There's probably some ice karting.
Oh, that would be bitching.
There probably is.
That would be cool. We went off on a rails on this current events here, but I like it. I think we should try to connect with those people.
Ice karting, it's too cold. Get out of here.
For you.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's happened lately? We are on the other side of Challenge.
You got yourself a little championship.
A little championship, and I finally got that bloody win.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, on Sunday. Roller coaster weekend, like I've told people. Friday.
You would have been honestly bitter if you'd got the championship. Like, I didn't win that.
Because I don't know, the way Friday went, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. It was pretty
And you're
tough.
always a big picture kind of guy. You always go for the long term. If you never do one-offs or anything like that. But for sure, if you didn't get a win, you're like, I wish I would have got a win.
Especially since I didn't win here, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I actually like the fact that I won Sonoma instead of Cal.
You purposely lost here to say, see,
That's
guys,
what
I don't
was.
have advantages.
Exactly. He's not
not
a
a
one-track
point.
wonder. He's a no-track wonder.
Nice.
I
wonder what happened to Mike Smith. That was what everyone was saying.
Anyways, Challenge went well. Got the W at the end of the season finale, and it was an exciting one. It was fun to do for sure. And then as you say, won the championship. Got the ticket to it's not Rio anymore, but the Vegas Rock race.
Just a spectator pass, though.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be driving.
And then actually on your end of things, you did not race. You were supposed to race at Tri-C round number 3 at the beginning of the month, but you've been battling this rib injury deal. And
yeah, dude, I just, from doing Challenge and then Tri-C a week or two later, Challenge here and then Tri-C a week or two later, my left side was just kind of giving me the finger and took time off from the sport kart testing here, just trying to heal and stuff.
Right.
And the last Friday before Tri-C, I jumped out for a session, kind of started feeling it, and then I did the next half a session, and I couldn't really not pull myself out of the seat a few times.
right.
And it sucks. I mean, at the end of the day, I just gotta get some more muscle on honestly the ribs. I mean, most of my
you wear a rib shirt. You went from a rib protector to the Zoom Bang shirt.
I went to the shirt like you do, and it's not as much padding, but it's way more comfortable. It stays in place. There's way more positives to it, except that's a tick less padding.
Right.
But
do you think that's why you got hurt? Because you can't even remember a shot at Challenge that did it. It was just like
it was just like constant me pushing in the seat and
Yeah.
stuff. I didn't have any hard hits or anything like that. So, which is almost worse. If I had got hit, I would have had excuse, but I was just driving. So
it's tough for you though, because you were leading the points going into that round.
Yeah.
And with a couple of poles and some heat
solid
wins.
heats, yeah.
So that's going to be a challenge. I mean, what's as you go into the next round? Like, you've been trying to stay out of the seat and heal up as much as possible so you can run the next round. But what's your outlook for the rest of the season here?
Man, honestly, it was funny. Like, Saturday or race day came and I'm at home and I'm looking at timing and stuff, and all I'm thinking is I'm not pissed or angry. I'm just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
It just
Disappointed.
It is what it is. Because at the end of the day, if I show up and race, I'm not going to be driving 100%.
Yeah.
I'm only going to hurt myself for longer. And one of the other reasons too was I'm like, I still got to go to work and drive,
Right.
like we were talking about. So,
well, and as you said, to those 2 points, right, is you had actually had a hard time in the main from the previous race.
yeah, I was definitely holding on a little bit.
And, like you said, you haven't been doing the sport car stuff. We've been staying out of the sea as much as possible there to try to heal up. So
I mean,
getting back in is definitely a priority.
for the rest of the year, I mean, this last race is already done and dusted. It is what it is. So for the rest of the year, I'm like, you know what? First 2 rounds are solid, even with that injury. Show up and do it again.
Right.
And as long as you can just, and that's actually, it was funny. I think we were talking about Mark Connell, this having the confidence to show up and know what you can do. As long as my body is mostly there, I feel like I can still be at the sharp end and get solid points. At the end of the day, as long as they're at the sharp end, the rest can kind of take care of itself.
Yeah, and you've been staying sharp doing the iRacing thing, which is a hell of a lot easier on the ribs.
It is, yeah. Harder on the wrist, though. So I got I got one more thing I got to work on.
I've been giving you a hard time about that, but somebody else who does a lot of the gaming stuff is actually our guest today, and I think that's a perfect segue to get him on board. So let's bring him on over, Dante Yu. Dante Yu, thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah, awesome. I can't wait for this.
What when Derek, I think it was Derek, hit you up about, hey, we knew that you would listen to it, you like the show, right? But when we were like, hey, you want to do it? You're like, oh hell yeah, this is gonna be sweet. You're like, I don't know if I really want to do that.
Could make or break your career.
Nice.
No, honestly, I feel like it was more me, like constantly hitting up Derek, be like, "Hey, man, you should bring me up for an episode, eh?"
And this is all really, and you're gonna know this, Dante. This is all to get at Jake Drew right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, this episode is entirely to just be like, "Hey, Jake, I was on a show, but you weren't."
Yeah. Have fun in the oval car, man.
Yeah.
Have fun being a race car driver.
We got a radio show.
Yeah. No, but it's cool, dude. Every time I see you and your dad, you guys are always talking about, hit us up saying good job on the show, or you just listened to the last episode.
Yeah.
So sounds like it's a thing that you and him like to do on the way out to the track.
Or I told Mike already, my dad always loves putting on episodes whenever he starts cooking dinner or anything like
cool.
that. Yeah, so we always listen to it, like almost every. I'm pretty sure he's listened to like every single episode.
Oh, that's cool.
I wonder if he goes, let's see, the next one's a 2-parter, so that means I can do a 7-course meal on this.
Yeah, right.
We got more time to cook. Yeah. So what like we always tell or ask everybody as they come through here, I mean, what I'm seeing you out here at the track or whatnot, but what do you have a 9 to 5? I mean, what do you do the work thing, or what do you got going on?
Currently, I don't go to school, unfortunately, but I mean, I should be getting into that. I don't work any 9 to 5 thing. All I do right now is just coaching for Troy Adams or helping out Phil Giebler as well.
Gotcha.
Right now, I mainly focus on working with Truly Adams.
Okay.
And helping him, with all the races like Tri-C, LAKC right now. And then,
are you doing the Mexico deal as well?
No, I just I think that's him and his dad, and I think they have some people out there that help him out as well.
Gotcha. Are you gonna be doing are they doing ProKart as well? Are you going up with ProKart with that as for the coaching deal?
I won't be coaching them. I'm not sure if they're going. I'll be driving myself with Phil. And out there with Ricardo and under the KA Senior. So
you were doing the coaching deal with the club level stuff with Truly,
right?
And then so you're going to be doing the ProKart deal. Did you do Pro Tour? Did I see your name on that list?
I did
as
do
well?
Pro Tour, yeah, with Phil and Burrell Art.
Gotcha.
Driving the X30 Senior class.
And how did you get hooked up on the? I guess firstly, how'd you get hooked up on the Phil Giebler deal? Because the last thing I remember you driving was a comp kart, I believe.
Yeah. So towards the end of the year, I kind of started helping. I kind of got more into the coaching idea of it.
This last year?
Yeah, this last year, 2020. So I was helping out Seth. I was helping out Phil a little bit, and mainly my dad was working with Phil, and they kind of like started talking and got a deal working. So now I drive for Phil.
Okay.
Nice.
And then how'd you do the get hooked up with Truly?
We've always known Troy Adams since like I literally started go-karting.
Oh, really?
So I've grown up around with Troy, so
that kind of thing was bound to happen. Then
yeah,
you're
exactly.
end back up with him.
So when you started doing the coaching thing, it was pretty natural for you to kind of gravitate that direction.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
And is that a bit of a breath of fresh air for Troy? Maybe he's stop coaching the kid as much and having a different voice in there. A little bit?
He For Troy, it's more like so he can sort of focus on helping out the team, helping out, like, so he doesn't have to worry so much about his kid, right?
Yeah.
Let
he's
else
got good
deal with
hands.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Same thing like Jesus with little Jesus.
Right.
They're always trying to balance it out. He'll try to have a mechanic there because he's got the whole paddock of motors to worry about.
Right.
So now I totally see that. Did you kind of want to start coaching, or were you just like, I'll give it a shot?
Well, because ever since I started working with Chris Wehrheim, I've always seen like how he talks to kids, talks to any other of his drivers. So I kind of took from him. Sorry, and I took how he approaches talking to people, and I was like, I think I could be pretty decent at this. I kind of know what I'm talking about, or I like to think I know what I'm talking about.
Certainly know what you're doing out on course.
Yeah,
that's for damn sure.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, and so it just kind of segued into that whole deal.
Gotcha. So it wasn't, you didn't like set out going, man, I really want to be a coach someday. It was just kind of one of those things like, I could probably do that, and kind of happen naturally.
Right.
So you're doing a little bit of coaching, and obviously some of the racing on the weekends and whatnot. That leaves a bit of free time. What do you do in between?
I won't lie. I was gonna say like most teenagers, like most lazy teenagers, I should say. I sit at my desk all day playing video games or looking up YouTube videos, and I keep up a lot with the esports side of gaming. So I try to look at what's going on, what news is happening, what teams are doing what. There's a lot to the esports side of things that you can get into.
So you say you keep up on the teams and stuff like that. What kind of games are we talking about here?
So mainly right now I keep up with a game called Valorant. It recently came out literally like a year ago.
What is Valorant? Yeah.
So those of you who may be familiar with a game called Counter-Strike, it's pretty old. It's a tactical shooter essentially. It's has very, very precise movement, very precise gunplay, and that always leads to like, if someone gets X amount of kills, that it's like, oh my god, that. It took a lot of precision, a lot of skill.
A lot less arcadey.
Right, it's a lot less arcadey. A lot less arcadey compared to like Call of Duty or a game called Apex Legends, whereas like you can move yourself around, throw yourself around, do crazy stuff. So so I keep up with Valorant. I keep up with Call of Duty a little bit. I've started to get into a game called League of Legends, which is very, very old.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I think
that's a long game to play.
Cameron tell me about that.
Yeah. Cameron's a nerd, so.
Yeah.
Dante, he's not at all. No, he's a cool nerd.
I like how you said, most lazy teenagers. I'm like, shit, man. I play a lot of video games. I have at home too. So, how did you? Have you been doing the gaming thing for a while? And is it specifically shooters? Is your deal?
Well, yeah. Ever since I was a kid, I've always played Mario Kart. Like I feel like most kids have, and ever since then, I've always been hooked on a controller and a game and a TV. So yeah, every year ever since I started playing Mario Kart, it's been like Call of Duty. It's been Fortnite when that came out. It's been there's just plenty of things that I've played over the years.
Pretty competitive with it? I mean, you post the videos and it looks like you know what the hell you're doing.
I like to think I know what I'm doing, but I still
good,
my aim still sucks a little bit. But I do get quite competitive with it. Like,
have you done any tournaments or anything like that?
I have not.
Okay.
I've always thought about it though, like especially now that I'm 19 and getting into being older. I've always thought of like, maybe I could try it out a little bit and learn some things as well.
Is that on the tournament stuff like that? We're talking like they have esports, like just in general, all that stuff is branched out from not just like your Call of Duties, but damn near every kind of online multiplayer deal has got some kind of tournament now these days, don't they?
Yeah. There's tons of like there's tons of tournaments out there, like a bunch of different companies that host their own little online tournaments, or even what's called LANs, which is essentially like in-person gaming. So the difference between online and LAN is like if everyone plays together in one place, there's less lag.
Okay,
obviously, so you're not playing over a network.
Right.
Yeah.
So that makes it fair, essentially.
Right.
Because it's all happening in real time.
Gotcha. And that makes a lot of sense. Like you'd see, I want to say I'd seen that kind of thing for like Call of Duty or whatever, where essentially everybody's in the auditorium doing it.
Right.
I guess it'd be a little bit tougher these days, right, with the crap I got going on, but eventually it's all going to come back. Wait, you were talking about on the videos and posting videos, you got I think you have a Twitch channel or something like that, and you actually play the game and people can like watch you play and stuff, right?
Yeah, I stream on twitch.tv/Aries AYTV, and I haven't been doing it recently because I've been more focused on TikTok sort of things. But every now and then I would hop on there and stream some video games and just kind of talk to anyone in chat. Right now I don't get many viewers, but it's cool when someone comes around.
I was actually at the last race. We were talking about getting you on. I was talking to Cameron Jocelyn, and he goes, he's like really big into the games. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I was kind of hearing. He goes, no, he's stupid good. like Cameron's like, I feel like I can kind of hold my own. And he sees Dante play. He's like, nah, forget it. Just throw the stuff down. I'm out.
Dude, Cameron's I don't get that guy. He's so. I mean, I love him, but no, Cameron's one of those guys. He goes from game to game. Like he'll find. He's like, we're all playing this game this week, and then next month we're gonna all play this game. I'm like, dude, if you spent, and he gets good at him. Like, if you spent one more time on that game, you'd be killing it.
Just think if you put any time into karting, how good he'd be.
Oh, jeez. Put time into something else. Just get back to karting.
And it is tough though. Like, someone can. It's hard for someone to play a certain game for more than a month unless they're like super dedicated to it. Like, I love Valorant. I love that game. I can play that game for a long time. But like, if you look at the recent Call of Duty that came out, that was only really popular for like.
Oh, Warzone?
No, it's a new one called Cold War, which is it's about the Cold War era.
Yeah.
It looked really cool in the previews.
Yeah, it looks really cool and everything, but like it's a little different from what came out previously, and people only really got into it for like a month and a half, and then it slowly started dying off. Like, the hype around it started dying off.
Yeah. Are there certain ones that just, like, even if they're older, they maintain their following?
Yeah.
Like, those are the mainstays. Like, you had mentioned Counter-Strike earlier. These games have been around for a while or whatnot. Even though technology's gotten better, etc., I still see like there's certain games that seem to just stay there.
Right. Like, if you look at Minecraft's been out for years.
Oh, yeah.
It's been out since
rolling.
I was a kid, but it's the most viewed thing on YouTube, on Twitch, because I feel like that game, it's a sandbox, right? You could do literally anything on it, and there's tons and tons of mods that you can put into it. So people get really, really creative with that stuff. And yeah, it's like I said, it's really hard for someone to be attached to a game for a long time, especially someone that's like casual, like most people. It's hard for them to be constantly entertained by something that you aren't so super invested in, right?
For Mike and I, like, it's really rare that him and I will play just a flat-out shooter game like Call of Duty or anything like that. We're going to play more of a storyline game. But the only shooter I've really taken to has been Battlefield. Like, I played 1, and now I'm on 5, and that game is just so cool. One, it's a little bit more realistic compared to Call of Duty and stuff, but I like the slower gameplay. Like, I get motion sickness from watching your videos, like how fast you're running around the map. So,
well, I can't believe how on the targeting.
Yeah,
like the screen moves and there's a kill. I'm like, I don't even know how that happened.
A lot of it.
Like, I like to think that I got pretty good hand-eye coordination driving and stuff like that, but that stuff is insane.
Yeah, a lot of it is like just intuition of just knowing, like, oh, there's gonna be a guy there at like this amount of seconds.
Wow.
Whoa.
And that's got to be basic, quote, seat time.
Yeah, essentially. It's essentially what's called like being a knower, like just knowing that that person's going to be there at that exact time. But like, I'm not even that great at all. I'm like just barely above average. You watch any pro player, it's insane.
Yeah.
What you can pull off.
Now, is that something like how, if you wanted to try to go like pro or like make a living in that kind of industry, how would you go about doing something like that?
I feel like a lot of it would be putting a lot more hours into it than I think I already do.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would have to put myself in that sort of situation where like I go to these little tournaments, or I was hoping as of last year before COVID and everything happened, I was going to try to go out to a lot of conventions and a lot of esports events, and unfortunately because of COVID I couldn't do that. Right. So hopefully towards the end of this year or towards at least summer, I would try to go out to some COD stuff, some Valorant stuff. A lot of the
get an
different
idea
events.
of what it's like,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like see people and make friends, I guess.
yeah, network, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, you had talked earlier. You were doing the coverage. You're trying to cover it. Is that going to be almost another way to be a part of it or whatnot that maybe could turn into some cash in the pocket or anything like that?
Yeah, I like to think of myself a little bit as I enjoy doing some sort of casting, which essentially is a commentator. Like if you hear Chappie, it's like someone who gives play-by-plays, right? So
okay.
I enjoy doing that quite a bit. If I get a good handle on what's going on in the game, I feel like I can give a good play-by-play and everything like that. And Yeah, I like doing reporting because I like following a story of a team, and especially this one team called 100 Thieves that I really, really enjoy watching ever since, I believe 2-3 years ago, since they were doing really big in Black Ops 4. Yeah, I wanted to just kind of give reports and updates on how they're doing currently in Valorant and how their team is performing. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, and there's still these tournaments going on. So there's still there's seasons and things like you can do. They're not just doing it online, right? They're still doing some bigger tournaments.
Yeah. So in Valorant, there's something called the VCT. It's called the Valorant Champions Tour. So right now they're doing a thing called Challengers Stage 2, which is everyone in the North American region, or sorry, just to put it in smaller numbers, everyone in the North American region can fight against each other, like all the teams, all the big teams. They do a round of 128, and then they just do a bracket tournament where they go like 64, 32, 16, 8, and then the top 4 from that will go on to a main event, and then the top 2 from that will go on to a LAN event over in Iceland where they'll play everyone. The big teams from around the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
So they're basically choosing the team to represent the U.S.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
There's people who play from Brazil, from Europe, from Turkey, from Korea, Japan.
It's a big game then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were talking about, obviously you're doing the shooter stuff and covering and things like that now, but you even talked about when you first started gaming, it being Mario Kart. Kind of segueing that into obviously the karting.
Right.
Were you? When did you get started karting? Was it right around the same time you're playing Mario Kart? And how did you even find out karting was a thing as a munchkin?
I'm honestly not sure how my dad found out that karting was a thing. I think we always sort of knew that there was like some sort of smaller level because we've always been watching racing like F1 or IMSA ever since I was a kid.
Did your dad race or anything like that?
No, well, he did a little bit of time trials with his Porsche 911. Way back in the day, but he never really was like a big racer or anything. He just
always a fan of it and everything.
Right, exactly. He's always mechanically inclined and always loved what cars can do and all that. Yeah, ever since I was a kid, I've always played Mario Kart, and I think my dad sort of noticed like, oh, he kind of knows what he's doing a little bit. So when I was I believe late of 5 years old, he took me to Troy Adams Track, and I did the school there, and then, the rest is history.
So you're born into fandom, basically.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not. And then you do like it, and then you start, gaming with the Mario Kart deal. Mm-hmm. He not too shabby. It's got lines and things like that down on his basics. You go over to and you guys check out the Troy Adams driving school. What year is that roughly? You said you're 5. What?
I believe that would be 2006, 2007.
Yeah, I was really just asking you so you could make me feel bad. That's exactly what I did. Holy shnikes, 2000. Okay, but you go over there and at 5. So we're talking kid karts at that time.
Yeah.
Did you guys immediately? Yeah. Wow. He's like. Were you pretty good? Like, you got a handle on it? Did you get a kid kart straight away?
I wouldn't say I was like pretty good. I was like okay, like my dad said, like I said, I kind of had the basics down, so I was like at least knew where I was going and things like that. And then from there, we just kind of honed in on things. I don't know if we got a kid kart, or I do believe we got a kid kart immediately. I think it was a really, really old top kart. If I remember correctly.
Nice. Right.
And the number 5 on it, and that was cool. Yeah, and then ever since then, we always did the SoCal Spinners club race there every month. And I think every Wednesday or so, we always did the night class or something at Troy Adams.
Oh, gotcha. So
you were doing the racing and the coaching deal through him?
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, just to keep learning and things like that. And we always took it a little bit more casually back then too.
Okay.
So as a munchkin, you're doing your racing kid karts there at SoCal Sprinters at Adams, and then you're also doing the regular coaching on the Wednesday night. As you say, the class deal. Mm-hmm. And it's casual. How long are you in kid karts? Did you do all 3 years or 2 years or whatever in kid karts? And do you guys get super serious at all in the kid kart deal like some parents do, or was it not till cadets that you started getting a little more into it?
I think my dad always he was always very good about not taking it too serious. He's still a kid, he's still learning, so we always took it really easily. And I think I was only in there for like 2 or 3 years that we just kept doing that. And I think eventually we got a old Burrell kart, and I put on I can't remember if I did a PRD first or it was a Comer first, which is, you might think that's a very big difference in speed.
Yeah. Comer was on one end and PRD was literally the fastest cadet. Aside from shifter at the time.
Yeah. I think I did like 1 or 2 sessions on a Comer and then the thing blew up, so that was funny.
So naturally you go PRD.
I think we did PRD for a bit, and I think around then we got in contact with Jesus from P1 Engines, and then I think we got our hands on a KPV engine.
Mm-hmm.
So every weekend from then on, we were doing one class in KPV and then one in PRD.
Yeah, and so that would have been, 2006, about 3 years later. So that's just before I get here in 2011. And I just remember PRD. Comer was huge for cadets,
for sure.
But KPV was the other primary class, and PRD was kind of a slow roll on that deal. And it never really got huge at the cadet level.
Was it all? And it's all in the cadet chassis.
Yeah.
With the PRD and stuff. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so you're on the Burrell, and you're just doing. Are you just doing SoCal Sprinters? Did you come out here and go racing at Cal Speed at all, or are you traveling around?
I think for the next few years we still only did SoCal Sprinters. And then eventually I got myself an Avanti whenever Troy got into that whole deal. And then we got 2 chassis, and then I think that's when we started coming out here to the LAKC races. I don't think I ever did Tri-C back then. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I only did LAKC as well as SoCal Spinners. And then for the next few years we did that until I got with Buddy Rice Karting. That's
when I first remember. I mean, that's the thing that I remember is the energy cart that you drove. Before that was still cadets. But how did you do when you're doing SoCal Sprinters? Obviously, kind of your home track, if you will, the one place that you run all the time. You having some success in the cadet game?
I won't lie. An old friend of mine, Aaron Aguirre, he was always pretty good at it. And Adam Iavelli, I remember he was really good. Hannah Grisham. There was another guy. His name was Zachary. I can't remember his last name, but they always were a little older, a little better than me. And me always being the short, small kid, I wasn't quite good. Honestly, I think I could barely hang on to the PRD cart going around the track, especially Adams is quite physical, especially for me.
Yeah. Right.
I always did. I think I was always like top 5-ish
in the conversation, but
yeah,
those guys are out front a little bit.
Yeah, I won't lie. I was never really good at go-karts until I the last cadet year. I finally picked it up a little bit.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No, what happened that last year? You think the thing started to click?
I can't, honestly, I don't really remember. It's just, I think around then, we'll kind of skip past the BRK stuff, but we started talking with Seth Nash from Nash Motorsports, and he kind of helped me figure out some things, and we kind of picked up some speed there, and that's when I got a lot more confident in passing people.
It was, and you and Seth was actually at BRK there for a while.
Yeah.
Was he there while you were there, and that kind of transition at the same time a little bit?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, from when I first joined, he was there. It was a whole big team. They had a bunch of people working. They had the 2 main guys were Buddy Rice and Seth Nash, and they were kind of heading the whole operation.
Right. Yeah. And then but at that point, you're running here at LAKC and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, and when I got into BRK, I think that was the first time I got into the whole SKUSA thing and running the mini rock as it was then. And we did our first, or actually, now I think about it, we did one race at SuperNats. Actually, that was my first ever SKUSA race on the mini rock with the Avanti chassis, and that went horribly wrong.
Oh man!
I don't think I even made the main event, or no, I don't think I made the LCQ.
So
actually,
so you're doing
horrible.
SoCal and whatnot, and I would say micro and proper Junior 1 stuff. Did they have a micro mini split right away? It happened a little bit later, I think.
No, at that time it was all one class.
Right? It was the micro is the thing they added on. They added the restrictor, I think.
Yeah, they added micro once I got into juniors.
Gotcha.
So it was way later on.
There's only minis, which means you're 7-8 years old too, all the way up to potentially 12. So to your point about going against other cadets that are older than you, and got
practically twice my height.
Right. Well, there still are.
Okay, man.
For those of you who don't know,
what's
Dante,
your problem?
He's not a tall man. So you get into your first SKUSA event, your first thing that's not club, if you will.
Yeah.
Is bloody SuperNats?
Yeah, I'm going up against all these guys from Brazil and Spain and all that, and I'm like, whoa, what is all this?
Holy shnikes! Why did you guys go and do that? I mean, aside from the experience or whatever, but what made you go? We're top 5 at the club. We should go to SuperNats.
I think it was mainly.
I mean, no, right?
That's deep end of the pool, mate.
I think it was mainly more about the experience. Really, we didn't really expect like a big result or anything like that. I think what Troy always preaches is just like, knowing what everyone else can do and like what the skill ceiling is, as I like to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went there just to kind of be like, oh yeah, these are really how good everyone is.
Gotcha.
Just to get a feel for it,
a little bit of
right?
perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
And you said you did that when you were on the Avanti still.
Yeah.
So
I think that was like when I was 9, or sorry, I think it was like 8 or 9.
So
something like that.
fresh in the cadet game. Hadn't done a bunch yet.
No.
So you go and do that. As you say, it doesn't go swimmingly for you.
No, not at all.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of people taking notes on Dante Yu at the time. But then the following year, are you still on the Avanti, or do you meet up with BRK at this point? Or
I think it was the following year that we started meeting up with BRK.
Okay.
We went to, I believe it was the second challenge race at Phoenix.
Okay.
And that was my first time ever getting on the road tax as well. And that's when I met Buddy. That's when I first drove the Energy kart. And that didn't go very well either. I didn't know how to drive the road tax at all. I didn't know how the thing worked, and I was still a kid. I didn't know a damn thing. So.
Right. So you're trying different stuff, whatnot.
Right.
What's what kind of conversations you having as a munchkin with your dad? Because you guys, you're going from the club level here to really jumping in the deep end with SKUSA and then Challenge and then something maybe ProKart as well. It's like, but you still haven't, say, eclipsed your
haven't had much success really.
Yeah, your maybe your potential.
Right.
You haven't gotten quite to what your potential could be at the local level. Yet you're going, to these bigger events. What's the thought process? What's the goal there?
I think a lot of it, when I was a kid, I struggled more with just being confident in going to pass people, and that's what you can kind of understand. My dad got a little frustrated with that, and
sure, you'd be fast,
right?
But it'd be like toe hooks,
right?
And you wouldn't go forward.
I just wouldn't go for it, right? I always struggled with that for quite a long time. So my dad always got a little bit frustrated with that, but
he's gonna be in the kitchen right now listening. He's like, "Goddamn right, I got."
Yeah, I just can already imagine his face, just nodding his head. And yeah, that's how it was.
You nailed it.
This episode's gonna come out, and Andy's gonna be like, "Hey, what time are you gonna be home for dinner?" I'm not.
Yeah.
No, for the whole week, this comes out just in case. Yeah. Take a vacation. So so you actually are a lot like my brother was as a kid. He was fast. Just he would toe hook it, and he would be in Junior 1 4-cycles, him and the other 2 kids, and he was in the same equipment that I had run before. We won a couple of races and almost won the championship and whatnot. So the equipment was good, and he was good too. He just would hang out, and then when he would get a W or whatever, it's because the 2 cats in front of him crashed or something like that. How did you? I mean, you're doing the coaching thing with Troy, and then your dad's cattle prodding you a little bit to try to get going. Where do you find that little something to, as you say, not till the last year of cadets, that the same things start to click? How do you bridge the gap there?
I'll never forget. It was always this one race that we had for the SKUSA ProKart Challenge at Sonoma, and I can't remember who it was, but someone told me like, "Oh, you just literally need to pull up alongside them, and you don't even need to actually pass them. You just need to be there on the inside for the corner." And I was just like, "Oh." That makes a lot more. It's just like some phrase or whatever that just like really clicks with you.
No, dude, and I'll even say when coaching or sometimes I'm like, I'll call Mike over. There's one guy I coach all the time, Chris Fox. I'm like, "Hey, Mike, can you just say this in your way?" And sometimes it just takes another voice saying it a different way.
Right.
Yeah. And you finally get it right. So
yeah, and it's trying to figure out how to, like, as you say, this, you hear it a certain way, or you hear that phrase or whatever, or it. Once you have the context of driving, then when you start getting some of this information, because right out of the gate, right, you're trying to, as you say, you barely hold on to the PRD karter on Adams, right? But then you get stronger, you have more knowledge. So then when some of the stuff that maybe was told to you 3 years ago that you couldn't understand at the time, but now you're like, oh yeah, oh, right. So if I'm a button willow, I just need to, instead of hanging out behind him because this is the line I'm supposed to be on, I don't know why I said button willow, it was in my head. But if I just move over to the side after a little bit of draft, I got the spot.
Right.
That's a pass.
And for Dante, he's like, oh, there it is, baby. You got it figured out. So you hear that, and it kind of clicks.
Yeah.
And do you just all of a sudden start becoming a passing machine?
Dude, like I said, thinking back to that race, it was for like the main event or something. I was starting 16th or whatever, and
Your
I didn't
dad's
have,
like, pack it up, boys. We might get 17th.
He just had to roll the cart in the trailer and then drive off. That was it.
No, I was already pretty fast for that weekend. I love that track. I love Sonoma. And then I had a not a very fortunate start. I think I was coming around the last corner and I bumped this kid and I got sideways, and with the way the mini rock was, it always just took years and years to get it going again.
Yeah.
So I fell back to like 20 something. And then from then on, I was just so fast. I was passing carts left and right. I drove all the way up to second.
Get out.
Wow.
I was catching the leader.
Do you remember
awesome.
who the leader was for that race?
Jagger Jones.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Neat.
Yeah.
So I was just at Sonoma for the challenge deal. We did not run tic-tac-toe. We were going in the clockwise direction. Were you guys in the standard tic-tac-toe version clockwise, or were you going the other way?
We were going counterclockwise.
Oh, so you do the helipad and then go back through.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah.
So, God, I would think
That's how SKUSA's always done it.
is reverse.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got some pretty good passing zones, especially like after the Monaco hairpin there.
Yeah, you got turn 1, you got turn 2, turn 3, and then you kind of got stuck there for a little bit. You can pass someone going into the helipad and then pass someone into the last corner.
Wow.
And now, like I said, I was just going at it left and right. And I remember, I'll never forget, the whole Nash team was cheering me on the side of the fence. They were going crazy.
I was going to say,
Dad's crying on the sideline. I can't believe it.
Oh, he figured it out. I can't believe it.
or he's actually pissed. He's like, now I'm stuck in this sport. He's like, this is gonna be the last one.
He was going to sell the cart.
Yeah. How was
man.
How was it when you came through scales and
Oh,
the
I had
teams?
the biggest smile on my face.
Yeah.
I remember like Christian Brooks. He was so happy for me. I had such a good day that day.
He was
It
probably in
awesome.
juniors at that point.
He
huh?
was, yeah, he was. I think he was like his last year or second to last year or something like that.
And
Okay.
that was challenge as well.
No, it was the SKUSA ProKart Challenge.
Oh, ProKart
Oh,
challenge.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Towards the beginning or middle end of that season.
I think it was like the 4th race.
Okay,
or
so closing on the end.
Yeah.
And how did the last couple of races go after that?
I can't remember.
Oh, really? So that one's awesome.
Yeah, that
And-
one's really
and
awesome.
That's a shining achievement for the year.
Yeah.
Did you go to SuperNats again or anything like that?
Yeah, we did. That went. I think that was the first time I made the main event.
Oh, how many times do you think you'd gone? Like 2 times before that?
It was 2 times, I believe.
Okay, gotcha. And both times were like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
So you make the main event, though. You had to have been stoked. I mean,
Yeah, it
from
was
that
cool.
race all the way through, you just got to be getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
And that was the last year in cadets.
Yeah.
So you move on from there into juniors, and what was the game plan, and how'd things go from there?
Yeah, we kept driving with Seth Nash. We drove a Tony kart for the rest of the year, for the next year on. And that was also the year that I got in touch with Chris Wehrheim, my now coach.
Okay.
And he helped me, realize a lot of things, as I kind of got older and matured and knew how a lot of things worked. He helped me. He put a lot of basic things into simple terms, and I was like, like I said with the whole passing thing, it just made a lot more sense, right?
Was Chris the one who told you about you just need to get next to you?
No, I actually didn't know who he was until I met him. I think it was at the Willow Springs race.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but like for the rest of the year, I was competing like for race wins or also like top 3s almost
Wow.
every single race.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And when you go out there and you go from cadets to juniors, which I know is a bit of a challenge for a lot of kids, especially you're not a big dude.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a decent amount of weight on the go-kart and a few other different things, right? Was that a bit of a jump, or with the knowledge you now had and now having Chris kind of explain some things to you, and it's a full-size car now, so that's right up his wheelhouse, right? It was a challenging year, or did it kind of just click right away from there and as you go?
I think my previous experience driving the PRD and how fast that thing was really
Okay.
helped quite a bit. Also, a little side story I will never forget. I had this one race at Apex. I think it was 18 laps, and I was A, really slow, and B, not very strong. And for the last like 3 or so laps, I literally cried into my helmet because
Oh,
I was
man.
so tired,
Just ready to be
and
done.
I wanted to get out of the
Throw the checker.
I was
Yeah.
I was so close from just pulling off the track, but like I knew how mad my dad was gonna be, so I just kept soldiering on. There was no one around me or anything, but I was crying in my helmet. I don't think my dad even knows that story.
Oh man,
that actually reminds me when I was trying to get into tag karts the first time. I was working at an indoor track, and Sodi Kart had just come over to the States, and the Black Flag Racing Group was out of sight kart. And I'm getting into is a Leopard 125, and I want to get into karting. They've got a race team, but I've only done indoor karts, and the last time I done karting was since I was a munchkin. So I'm like, well, I kind of know what the hell's going on. So maybe I can take this indoor karting knowledge and apply it to the other stuff. And I remember feeling like I was letting the team down so bad because I was not good, and I didn't get it yet, and it hadn't clicked. And me and a couple other guys on the team were struggling. Like I remember we went to Snake River Karters, and me and this other kid, Adam Kellerman, were running, and there's not that many people there, and I want to say maybe we're going for a podium or whatever, but that's because nobody's there really. It's just low key. Then we had Aaron Neldon on the team, right? And Aaron is quite good. I'm not sure if he still works with the RPG or not, but he's like running stars and like going for the win and also the kinds of crap. And he's there like coaching us. And I'm just like, I am horrible. Like I gotta be making these guys like, you don't want to look at those aren't our karts. Like, right. Wish they weren't on our team kind of thing. And I would think like, but you just I gotta make it to the end, But that feeling at the end, like this just sucks.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's not very pleasant.
If I'm going to do anything, I'm at least going to finish.
Yeah. When you have something like that happen, and then obviously the complete other end of it, as you said, that was a story from when you were first kind of getting going.
Yeah.
Now that when you get to the juniors and stuff like that, and you're obviously a lot better. What's your dad like? Because he's gone through this entire scenario of Dante,
the really really bad.
Yeah. To like, holy shit, man! All right, kid's rolling now, and it's clicking.
Flips.
Yeah, I think my dad was a lot more enthusiastic about it then, and he kind of let Chris take a little bit more of like, getting me to figure out what's going on, telling me how to do things and stuff like that.
I assume aside from Troy doing the coaching, he had been trying to do some of that stuff and wrenching and stuff like that on your karts, right? It was just you and him basically, right?
Well, actually, with Troy, it's always been more like, I'll help coach your kid, but the dad's got to work on it, the parents got to work on the go-kart.
Right. So I mean, like your dad's the wrench,
right? Yeah, it's always been. It's for years and years. It's always been me and my dad.
Yeah, I still would see you guys come out here on a practice day and sit the two you guys in the back, or even one of the club races. Like, hey, are you racing? No, we're just practicing. I'm like, God dang it, I want to see you get out there. But you guys seem to be a pretty damn good team, too.
Yeah, we kind of figured it out to a T at this point, and I know what I'm doing a lot more, and I know how to criticize myself and what mistakes I should be working on. But also back to what you were saying about how was it getting into the big kart. My dad always had this old top kart as well, and that was like the first big full-size kart that I got into. Okay. And it was really more about the size, not really the speed. So from right before I got into juniors, we kind of took that to Adams for like a day or two, just to help me figure out, the speed, the weight, and that was actually really fun because it was stress free. Just go run some laps and figure out how it feels and all that. And that was pretty cool.
You had a little bit of confidence already coming from the mini
as
well. So.
Yeah, I was feeling good, right?
Yeah, It would have been a little bit more challenging if it was the year prior.
Yeah.
Dante was not going to move up early, if you know what I mean.
You sure about this, Dad?
It's like I'm going to go back to the Mario Kart. That might be a little bit better. So when you get into juniors, do you guys start shifting the mindset, taking things a bit? I mean, to your point, you just got done doing the SuperNats thing and actually made the main. Also, so you get the juniors. Are you like, all right, we want to go for championships. We want to, now that you got a full season ahead of you with some confidence, do you change your own goals? You guys change your own outlook? And what do you do that next year for juniors?
I think I started to definitely get a little more positive about it, right? I started to be like, oh yeah, I can do something in this, right? So we didn't really, I personally, I didn't really look at championships. I don't like looking at the whole big picture, right? I just like doing more race to race and doing my best at the day of and things like that.
Kind of let the chips fall where they are.
Right, exactly. And yeah, I think from then on, we just kind of went race to race, and I started to have pretty solid performances. And all the way up to the end of that first junior year, we went to SuperNats, and unfortunately, that was the last time I ever finished the main event. But we had
no way.
Yeah, wow. we had a really good year. I ended up finishing 7th, actually.
Oh, wow.
And to start the race off, I was, I think, 5th or so.
You qualified pretty well, get through the heats okay?
Yeah, I think I qualified, I think it was top 10 at least. And it was really, really good. Like, there was a solid field of drivers there as well.
Almost always is with juniors.
Yeah.
You got split into 2 groups, A's and B's and things like that?
Yeah, the whole shebang
wow.
and all that. Yeah, and it was really, really fun. Like I said, I ended up qualifying top 10. Had really, really solid heat races. Stayed away from all the mess, as we all know, and ended up starting 5th. And through the first couple corners, I came out in 3rd. And I was like, oh my god! I think I sort of started to freak out a little bit because I was like, oh my god, I'm in 3rd place. I can podium at SuperNats.
There's a lot less carts up front.
Yeah. Yeah. So lap by lap, I just kept doing my best, but I was still a little kid. I got a little tired, and I kind of started making mistakes.
Yeah.
And I slowly fell back the ranks a little bit, but I still ended up finishing 7th, and that was still a really, really good finish for me.
You were still with Nash at this point?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then the year after, Chris had really good contacts with Comkart, and that's when we started running with them for the next few years. And going into the next year, we did a race at a ProKart Challenge, the Buttonwillow race, normally the first race of the season. And we did quite a lot of testing before then. We did, like almost every weekend we were at that track with Chris, just figuring things out, figuring out the go-kart, how to drive the track, of course.
This is your 2nd year in juniors?
In juniors, yeah. And then we ended up winning that race by like 5 seconds.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Was that your first big win, would you say?
No, actually, the year before we did a race at Santa Maria. It was the IKF Nationals, I believe, or something like that.
Would mean you got a Duffy?
Oh no, sorry, no, that wasn't that. It was I can't remember. It was like was
it that PRD shootout thing?
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. There wasn't many people, but I won't forget. I'll keep giving Jake Drew crap for this, but I beat him that race, and that was my first like real big smile on my face.
Well, honestly,
to your point, there might not be that many people there, but Jake Drew was there.
No, and to your point, Mike, like there wasn't a lot of people, but it sounded like there was the right people there.
Quality
to go race against.
Yeah.
So. That's so funny.
Yeah.
He's just always going to hold that over
I
his
love
head.
the guy, but man, I love beating him.
So you get that win, and then you get this one, but obviously a lot of work, new chassis, new program, and you win that race. What did you end up carrying this on, and how the rest of the season go there for the Comp Kart and the ProKart deal?
Yeah, we went on to the first race for the Pro Tour, the Spring Nationals.
Is it
Phoenix.
your first time doing Pro Tour that year?
No. Or actually, we'll go back a little bit here. I did a race. I'd been doing the Pro Tour for a few years now already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I went to Dallas for that Summer Nationals race. I did the Utah race back then, and going to the Utah race, that was when I kind of figured out a lot of speed. I ended up qualifying pole there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
At the Utah track, but I was like I said, I was still a kid. I was really, really nervous. I can remember shaking in my boots at the front race. I literally sat in my go-kart and I was just like,
Yeah. At this point, I mean, the success is starting to come your way,
right.
And you're working with Wehrheim. Is the thought keep progressing through karting, or are you having forward thoughts of we can maybe go into cars at this point?
Personally, I still try to keep it more to the, like just in the moment. I like karting. I like doing this, and I just like having fun with it, right?
The long-term plans aren't really in there. You're still very race-to-race kind of scenario?
Yeah, I never really liked thinking about the future, really. So I always just, go from race to race. And while I do like to entertain the thought of it, I personally kept it to myself, and I just, went race by race.
You kept it low stress, for sure.
Right, yeah. I've always, like, throughout the years, I've always noticed that I don't do very well when I think about the big picture, and I think about, everything in the future. So I'll always try to keep it, a little closer.
So by focusing on the task at hand, you kind of let all the other stuff lay and see how it goes.
Which is crazy. We were just talking to Race Labrante, a few months ago or a month ago, whatever, and he goes, when he was doing some of the short track stuff at Irwindale, he's like, if I didn't win, we didn't have gas to put in the car to get home. And I'm like, dude, there is stress with points racing, thinking about championship and stuff, or start from the back. I'm like, you're tied about results to survive. I couldn't imagine doing that.
Yeah, I was very fortunate enough not to have like not to really think about that. It'll be like, you have to win, for X reason or whatever like that. But yeah, I always left the big picture stuff more to my dad and also Chris Wehrheim, which I kind of regret a little bit. I think I would have liked to have a little bit more input on my future. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. Life goes on. But going back to how the rest of the year went, we did the Pro Tour race at Phoenix, and the first day I think I got top 3 or so, and then the next day I ended up sweeping the day.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, qualified pole, won the pre-final race, or no, I think I got a pre-final race, and then led every lap in the main event.
Wow,
that's really cool.
So your year at this point is pretty damn solid so far. You got a win at Buttonwillow, and at that point a win and another podium, probably leading the points at that point.
Yeah,
like it's a pretty good spring at that point.
Yeah. Actually, I think the second race we did at Willow Springs, I kind of choked it. I had really, really good pace, but I didn't end up finishing that well. I think I finished 5th or so.
Yeah.
But the rest of the year went on really, really well. I think the third race we did was can't remember the track, the one parking lot track that they always tend to do. I think it's in
Monterey.
Monterey, yeah. We had a pretty good race there. I think I finished 2nd. And then the next race, I believe, was Santa Maria.
And this is all in juniors.
In juniors, yeah.
What kind of juniors are you going against here? Because you're on the younger end of the scale.
Right. We were racing against Jagger Jones, Zoe Edenholm, Oliver Calvo, Jake Drew.
So not very good drivers. It's
holy never heard of them.
That's an all-star class right there.
Yeah. It was good fun racing. And I've been racing these guys since I was in cadets, right? So we've all grown up racing against each other. We all know how each other race.
They like the old Dante more than the new Dante.
The guy who doesn't like to pass anyone.
Yeah. What happened to the drafting partner, bro?
This guy's not fun anymore.
So you have a damn good year there. So how things end up for you as the season comes to an end?
Yeah, going into the last race at Lancaster, I think I was leading the points, and I think that time they really kind of put on me the fact that, like, hey, you can win the championship, so take it a little easy, right? Like, obviously go for the win, but just think about winning the championship. Yeah.
That could be dangerous at a street course, though.
Yeah, of course.
Oh man, right.
And I think that kind of got into my head a little bit, right? It's like like I said, I don't like to think about the big picture. I like to just race, right? So they kind of told me about the whole championship thing, and that got into my own head. So
the team's right there at the sign at the head of the grid says championship.
Yeah.
And then question mark after that. And you're
it's
like,
all up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the race, I ended up finishing 3rd, but like I sat in 3rd the entire race. I had the pace to win, but I just never went for the pass. So I knew that I had to finish 3rd to win the race.
Oh. So mentally you got locked in.
Yeah. And I sat there for the entirety of the race. And Oliver Calvo ended up winning the race, and he barely lost out on the championship by like 5 points or something like that.
Did you kind of regret not going for the win?
Yeah. It would have been nice to, win as well. But in the end, I still got the championship.
I think the key there, win as well.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have regretted. He would have regretted if he had tried and crashed.
And that's kind of the thing. Like, kind of like I was talking about Mike earlier. Like, he got the championship, but he's like, if he didn't get that win at Sonoma, would he have been a little about it? Would you have? Do you really try to hold back nowadays, or are you kind of like, no, I want to go for the win?
No, right now I like I said, right now I just have to like to have fun with it, so I just go for it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like to do what I can. I like to be a little more of a strategic driver, so I don't really go for crazy things, but I just try to do what I can and just have fun with it.
Nice.
So you win that junior championship. What year is that?
That was 2016 or so.
Yeah,
I think 2016, because 2015 I think is the year that I did really good in that SuperNats race.
Gotcha.
So I believe it was 2016.
16, you win the championship. How'd the rest of the Pro Tour go for you?
The Pro Tour, I think we did the Summer Nationals race that was in Indiana, and I think I got just missed out on a second on the second day. Or sorry, I ended up finishing 2nd on the second day. I just lost out to Dylan Tavella. He had a really, really good race, and we were going at it for the entirety of the race, but he passed me with like 5 laps to go, and then just pulled away just enough to where I couldn't get back by him. But yeah, we had really, really good pace. The first day, I can't remember how the first day went, but overall it was a pretty decent weekend.
Yeah.
And then we went on to go do SuperNats.
I was going to say, because Pro Tour back then, SuperNats was the last race.
Right,
for the
it was
Pro
still
Tour.
involved
It
in
was-
points. Yeah. And yeah, that went... Oh God, I'll never. This is a sob story.
And you're going in as a championship contender.
Yeah. I think we were like third or fourth in
And
points.
sorry to interrupt, but this is also okay. So you just got done doing because Lancaster happens before SuperNats, right?
Yeah.
So everybody tells him about the championship at Lancaster, and he goes, "All right, buckle down in third, get the championship, right?" But then you go into SuperNats, it's like, hey,
championship.
no. Why'd you tell me?
Yeah, seriously. So throughout the weekend, we had a pretty solid weekend like that we did the year before. You know, good qualifying, good heat races all throughout, and I think I was starting somewhere in the top 10.
Come on,
once again, and. It was tough. The race as we went on, there was always like a little bit of a weather warning going through the weekend.
Yeah.
It was like cloudy a little bit, and then we went lap by lap, and then I was sitting sixth or so, and it was looking a little unfortunate because I think Dylan Tavella was the one who was like really looking good for the championship, and he was like up in second or so, and he was a little bit further ahead, a little too late for me to catch.
This wasn't a hold on a third. This was you need to go get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So I was kind of trying to chase it a little bit, and then unfortunately, on going into the last lap, it started to drizzle just a little bit.
Oh man!
And at the end of the straightaway, you know how
I remember this one.
You know how they have that one full throttle long corner, right? So it just got a little bit wet, and I went into it a little too hard.
And it was a parking lot, I think.
Parking lot.
You weren't the only. No, I mean it became a parking lot of crashed go-karts.
Yeah.
I think it was that race.
Well, it was just me and one other guy.
I thought that was the cadets just a couple years ago. That's what I'm thinking. Sorry, shocker, cadets. Yeah,
right.
But they had the same thing happen to them.
Yeah.
Man. So you go from sixth and solid point deal,
I
whatever.
think we're looking. I think I was like 6th or 7th place, and then. Yeah, just went in too hard and hit the wall going into the last lap.
God damn it. That sucks.
You're stationary and you look over and there's Aaron Likens with the white
white flag.
Oh, man, that's brutal.
I sat in my go-kart. I was in tears.
That sucks.
It was horrible.
Man.
And yeah, it's so close but so far, you know.
Yeah, for sure. What? So, do you end up having another junior year after that, or are you moving to seniors after that?
No, we only did 2 years, and then we moved on into the senior category.
It's all in the X30, yeah.
No, this time it was still on the Leopard, actually.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't until I moved into seniors that they moved to the
X30
program.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when you've shown now that you're one of the top junior drivers at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So as you go into the senior ranks, it's the same go-kart.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little heavier.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you gained probably about 1 pound of muscle in this period of time. Still not a very big guy.
1 inch of height too.
Yeah.
That was the muscle. But so you go into seniors, again, not a big guy, and now you're going against the big dogs.
Right.
And again, solid group of juniors. You're a solid driver yourself, but we all know that seniors now, you've got some experience. People have been hanging out there for a while. This is the 2017 season you're going into, right?
Right.
What's the game? You still on the comp cart?
Yeah. Still on the comp cart. You know, I think we kind of took the year also as like learning and things like that. Or actually, now that I think about it, the year previous also we did 2 or 3 races in Europe, actually.
Oh, wow.
So I think 2016 was the first time I got into going over to Europe.
All right,
we did
in juniors.
In juniors, yeah.
Okay.
So the first race we did was...
How'd you get into that? Like, what was the thought, or what was the deal?
It was all about the experience, you know.
Wow.
Getting to see how all these other European drivers can go and how they race, right, and how precise they can be.
Kind of like going to the SuperNats the first time.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So the first race we did was in Castelletto in Italy. I think it was towards the springtime or so. We did that race. I ended up having a pretty decent showing. I had good pace, and I was like top 5 driver over there.
Nice.
And then
What package are you running?
comp kart still.
Yeah.
I can't remember what engine it was, or sorry, what engine builder it was, but we were running the X30s.
Oh, it was
okay.
X30.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you feel like that's pretty damn awesome to go over to Europe and be a top 5 driver out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Did you glean any information or like what did you take from there and bring back with you when you came back here to go race?
Mainly it was about the racecraft because
Okay.
they're quite a lot more aggressive with it, and they're not afraid to white line it for any position at all, and or just go for any pass.
For the kids, what's a white line it?
Going all the way down to the inside, like as far as you can go.
Yeah.
All the way down to the grass or whatever.
Put a little green on the tire.
Yeah,
there too.
exactly.
Wow.
They are not afraid to put you off. They're not afraid to side pod at all. Like at least like how I to think of it as here, they love using their side pods. Whereas here, we're a little afraid to make that side to side contact.
Yeah.
But over there, they're just not afraid of it.
Yeah.
They'll go for anything. They'll rub you out of the way using their side pod. They're more side to side, and we're more front to back.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
I'll take side to side over front to back.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
It was like, it wasn't unfair, really.
Yeah, but it was rougher side to side than what you would be used to over here.
Exactly.
Did you add that to your repertoire at all, or are you not that kind of driver?
I did in a sense of like, just trying to muscle it a little bit more, but I wasn't like super like get out of my way. You know what I mean? I was never that kind of driver. I never liked pushing people out of the way. But yeah, like I said, going over there, I just kind of took more of the how to race a little bit harder.
When you go over there and you do top 5, and you say you do more races, was it going to be a one and done, or had you already done or planned on doing multiple races?
No, I think we planned on doing a lot more of the big X30 races over there. So we did that, right? And then later in the year, we went to go race at PFI, which is in England. It's it's arguably the most well-known tracks over in the UK. And we did that, but that went not very well. I just didn't have like the confidence, I guess, because I've always been sort of intimidated by the whole like international scene and how all these big dogs can show up with all their cool equipment. And
even
like
after
that.
doing the P5 program there in Italy, you still had that?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, man. Like I
was gonna ask. I mean, was it the intensity in the paddock or the kind of the vibe you think kind of was off?
Yeah, I think it was because like I was the only American there, right? So I always got these like weird stares, right? Being the only American, being the new kid on the block, right?
Yeah.
So it was. I think as a kid, it was just always a little bit intimidating to me, and it kind of got to my head a little bit, and I just wasn't driving like how I normally drive. Like
Gotcha.
even Chris and my dad knew it, and it wasn't a great weekend.
Yeah.
And then later that year, we went to go do the Le Mans race, the X30 World Finals.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and I think we had decent pace there, but it always could have been a little bit better. Yeah, it was a good learning experience as well, right?
Yeah,
and that track is definitely a lot of fun.
So Italy, France, good. England, bad. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I won't lie. I've never had the best experience of that track.
Yeah,
it was always rough.
Wow.
Like the track is fun and all. I just for whatever reason that track never really clicked with me.
Gotcha.
I remember we were talking. I think at the last Tri-C, like 2 rounds ago or so, we were talking about you going to Europe and racing over there, and you're like, dude, there'll be a 10-time X30 champion from Europe, and then he's 10th in that world spot, field or whatever. Just you can be that deep in the field, and you're like, I'm still around some decent drivers.
Yeah,
and it makes you like, how good is that guy up front? Leading that thing.
Well, and then you have the quote any given Sunday program too.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
I just say things don't click or don't work, and it doesn't mean the guy's not good. It's just bad things happened that particular time around.
Yeah.
How the programs ran out there? What'd you think?
It was definitely a lot more like professional in a sense. Not that say like the guys here aren't very professional, but it was just more like centered around racing, right? Like those guys,
it's a business.
It was
business,
like
all
F1
business.
for karting.
Yeah, exactly. It's just they all have like all the proper kit and everything. They all had sort of like a little system going on, and it's just a lot more. It's like I said, like you said perfectly. It was just F1 for karting.
Man.
So
what's it like when you come back here and start racing again over in the States?
Yeah, just kind of carrying the same mindset over, how those guys race and how they're a little bit more aggressive. So I think I sort of try to apply that to my own racing here, keeping that same precision and running lap by lap. And that's always a big thing we always worked on with Chris was a lot of the consistency and working on being as close to my theoretical time as possible.
Right.
And that's a big thing that helped us out to win the Phoenix race over for the Spring Nationals.
Right.
So,
and you said you won by a decent margin. You swept the day, which means if you're trying to beat yourself
right
all the time, and you're already the fastest, then that's just going to keep you going faster and faster.
Yeah, we won, I think it was about like 2 seconds. And honestly, like it never really set in the fact that I won the freaking race. It was the whole national event, and
Right.
I crossed the finish line, and I was all like, "Yay!" But and, like in the back of my mind, it's like, dude,
Are you kidding me?
you just won a national race.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And, like that was
is
really
so
cool. It was a decent field too. It was like 40 some drivers, right? And it was against like Jagger Jones and now Johnny Edgar, who's a freaking Red Bull driver for I think Formula 2 or Formula 3.
Oh,
Right.
Wow.
So that was cool then too.
That's awesome. And actually, I was thinking about as you say, coming from Europe, being a little more elbows up and whatnot over
Right.
there. And the fact you did that as a junior, when you carried that in, you were going into seniors. A good time to be able to know how to go elbows up,
Right.
with those guys. It's not like the juniors don't do that, but when you're going against now older, wiser, been doing this longer, having that little bit of extra European racing experience had to be big for you in the senior ranks.
Yeah, again, going up against guys who are twice my height.
Right.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
It was cool. Like I got especially that last junior year, I got really, really good at being able to pass people. So I didn't quite have the pace for the rest of the year, but it was going into every race. I was going for passes that I normally wouldn't go for, and we did the Indiana race once again for the Summer Nationals, and I'll never forget. Chris will never forget either, but we came from like 40 something or so and ended up finishing like top 10
That's awesome.
Man.
in a heat race. I think it was. I was going for.
Oh, wow.
If you're familiar with the Indiana track, the Newcastle track, they're going into scoreboard corner, which is a hairpin. I was going for double passes like every time I had the opportunity.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So the strength in the left foot was there. The strength in the lap times are starting to come there and whatnot. Why were you that far back in a heat race?
I think it was a really just unfortunate like heat race. I can't remember what happened, but it was just like some wreck or whatever. Especially with how big the field gets there, they have
Right.
like
Just
50.
got collected and shit.
Yeah. And honestly, like I didn't really have like the best pace either. So those guys always had that track down to a T. All the East Coast people, they were always really, really fast there. But yeah, I'll also, real quick side note, always give credit to Troy Adams, really helping me out with getting good with my braking threshold and all that.
Yeah.
Well, Chris kind of like honed it in a little bit. I was always pretty decent at it from a young age because he would always do these braking drills that he might have let you guys know about.
Oh, yeah.
I did those ever since I was a kid, ever since I was in like ever since I first got into the cadet stuff, and we always did braking drills, and that's when I got really, really good at being able to brake deeper than any other driver out there.
Yeah, and he actually did. He brought that up in the podcast. It's like literally, like maybe one of his marquee things or the keystones of his program was the left foot.
Right.
And actually, I completely concur with that because I've always felt like I'm not the fastest guy out on course in general, but I make up a lot of what I lack elsewhere in my left foot. Like we'll look at data and whatnot, just in a couple different spots or even just visually on course. And where I'll be beating a couple other spots, I'll make it up, tenfold or whatever under the left foot. And it's like, okay, well, the lap time's okay, but we still got more work we need to find. We need to go faster overall. I'm just out breaking them. I'm trying to make up for it. But you can't go win races by making up the difference on the left foot. You should be able to evens and then go beat him on the left foot.
Right.
So, yeah, the fact that you're able to make those double passes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was
pretty brilliant.
awesome. Yeah, it was cool. Even though we didn't have the best finish, I still had a pretty fun day, obviously. Because,
yeah, ain't you gonna pass 30 bloody cars in a heat race?
it was awesome. Yeah, especially at that track, right? You're passing people down the straightaway with all the speed, with how fast you're going in those at that track. So it was real good fun weekend.
Was there one Pro Tour track that you just you're like this place again, or was there? Yeah, and was there one that you just love showing up to every time?
Or any track at all, whether it be Pro Tour or otherwise.
Probably Newcastle.
Really?
Because we just always had like these unfortunate things that happened there, right? It's just with how big it is and how very, very crucial qualifying is. So especially like trying to get the perfect draft, right? If you didn't get the perfect draft, you'd be down 2-3 tenths, and that would put you in 30th or 20 something.
Yeah, less to do with what you're doing a little bit because of the nuance of the track. Because because drafting is so damn important.
Right. I've always hated tracks that are like very
draft dependent.
Very draft dependent.
Yeah.
That's always what I have found on a lot of the national tour stuff or like say the bigger races. And to be fair, quite a few tracks are this way where they have a really long straight and then some other, technical bits or whatever. I mean, I guess that's one of the things that the Cal Speed does not have. We do not have a long straight. I mean, let's say the front straightaway coming out of Long Beach at its longest is still only 550 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, the back straight's actually longer, technically, versus, 1,000-foot straightaway, I think is at like Apex or something like that, or or even maybe Adams has got a long straight to it. I'm going to Sonoma, and it's got it's a bendy straight, but it's a long straight, and you're able to do the draft and things like that.
Yeah,
there
draft
as well.
is very crucial there.
Yeah, you just sniff a draft here at Cal Speed, and then we're in the corner. That's
exactly.
about it. So it's definitely a little bit more of technical, but then it's a freaking parking lot, so it's all kind of different.
No, here it's only worth like a tenth, if that.
Not a bunch.
Yeah.
In the faster stuff, in the slower stuff, it can mean a lot more. But yeah,
for sure.
So you're doing the senior stuff and whatnot, and again, you always talk about just going race to race to race. You win the ProKart championship as a junior. Do you have some same accolade? I mean, you're a senior now. You're still in the ranks. You're still running. You've been doing that for 3-4 years. What's the shining achievement right now in the senior game?
Throughout that first senior year, I can't quite remember like anything that was like, oh my god, I did that again. Or actually, no, I won't forget. I did win the Santa Maria race once again, and that was really, really cool.
The PRD thing?
No.
For ProKart?
Yeah, for ProKart.
Oh,
for
you got
the
ProKart,
X30
okay.
race.
Gotcha.
So actually, ever since that PRD race, I ended up winning every race that I did at Santa Maria for the next 3 or 4 years.
So you're the Oliver Calvo that is Lancaster. You are the you are to Santa Maria.
Yeah,
Calvo's got like 4 in like 2 different categories at Lancaster.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
He won. I think he won his last year in cadets, and then he won the next 2 or so years in juniors. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, in Santa Maria, that was awesome. We ended up winning that, and then going on to Lancaster, I think I won that race as well.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that was
you did get a Lancaster W.
Yeah,
Nice.
we did. I think that was a cool race as well because it was up against Wes Boswell, I think it was.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, wow.
And
Nice.
Billy Musgrave, I think it was.
That's awesome.
And
Man, why can't I remember that?
I think it was also Austin Garrison. I can't remember if Billy Musgrave was racing, but I remember Austin Garrison was racing that.
Yeah.
And going into the race, I kind of got an idea of how they were going about the track, and I always, if Austin ever listens to this, I'll always give him shit for it. But going into the one right-hander, he would always exit out a little bit wider than everyone else would, and I would always keep that in mind. And I'm like, oh, he's gonna hit that wall one of these times.
Oh wow.
And I just kind of getting ahead of the game, I ended up passing him going into the last corner, and that same lap we go around to that right-hander, and I just hear a big boom behind me.
Oh.
And I look back, and there's no one behind me.
You pushed a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
You probably put him in the fence. You're like, yeah, I told you you're gonna hit the wall.
Yeah. Austin's like, I got to get on this show to clear my name.
Yeah, nice.
No, yeah. And then we ended up winning the race by like 10 or so seconds because we were already way ahead. Yeah.
You obviously had a good race, but do you like street courses or?
I love them.
You do?
Yeah.
Have you done any of the other ones?
When I was
Quincy, that's a street course.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you gotten to do any of those East Coast ones?
No, I've only done Lancaster, but we did when I was still in cadets. We did that Modesto race as well.
Oh,
wow.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one year they had Lancaster, Modesto, and Elsinore all at the same season. Did you do Elsinore as well?
I did do Elsinore. I ended up finishing second, barely losing out to Jagger Jones.
That was that was supposed to be a small SuperNats track.
Yeah.
Right?
It was like a SuperNats replica, basically to get people ready for the SuperNats weekend.
Right.
That was cool too.
Modesto was the one that went into the early hours.
Yeah, that was
and it
that was a
like
weekend.
it was the cadets' fault for the most part. That's what I heard. That's what I hear anyway. Cadets can't make it through chicanes or something.
Oh man, it was red flags left and right.
Yeah.
Every single session.
I mean, I saw some onboard. There was a fast right-hander that looked like it led into a chicane.
Yes.
And it was like, whoa, that is sketch.
It was a tight chicane too.
Man.
Very, very tight. You could barely fit one go. Like you couldn't drive straight through it, and you had to like do these quick left rights. It was very, very narrow.
Man, that reminds me of, you look at the old footage from some of the early it'd be vintage now, but some of the earlier karting stuff. And yeah, they would have like these fast sections, but they throw these, hay bales and tires or whatever.
Stuff to split.
And it's like, damn, dude, like these are sketch. These are messed up. And then obviously you hit one, and it's a parking lot behind you.
Yeah.
Because now you've blocked it, and that sounds like kind of what they had the problem at.
Yeah,
Modesto
it was
as well.
it was pretty wild. Every like like most street courses, every corner was a 90-degree corner, and then they would have that chicane, and honestly there wasn't that many crashes there, but yeah, there would be the occasional someone who would like clip the curbing.
When
there.
it was probably big though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There would be like someone who would clip the curbing, and I did that one time in qualifying. I clipped the curbing and my chain fell off and I hit the wall, and gratefully enough I didn't block anyone. I just kind of got myself out of the way really, really quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would always happen there in that corner.
You said that you like street courses. What about the street courses is that you enjoy?
I like getting up to the barrier. You know what I mean? I never really got afraid of being that close to it, especially coming off of the win from the X30 Senior. I think that's the year that I really had like a big epiphany, if you will. So I was like, I wasn't really afraid of going to the edge.
The confidence was where it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
I think also when I started testing for X30 Senior as well, we came out here, and that was also a big time where I again got familiar with being close to that curbing. I'll never forget like those few times when I would come out of Long Beach and I would just get right up to the barrier.
Yeah, that's when we had the bandits on the exit.
The NASCAR tires on the exit.
You hit those things and
yeah,
it's no wannels. Yeah, you don't kind of slide off from like the barrier. Like people complain about the blue barriers we have now, and I'm like, you guys,
you guys are lucky now.
If I put the bandits over there, it'd be game F over, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm the exact opposite, bud. I never felt. I don't think I feel super comfortable with it. Like I don't. It's not that confidence thing. Like I even had at Lancaster, you win and you go have your interview with Howden and all that kind of stuff, which is cool. And I told him in that deal, I'm like, I actually try to stay away from the barriers. And then, why am I drawing a blank? Tony Leon, he ends up he's doing pictures, Dromo photos,
right?
And he's got a picture of me like within an inch of the barrier going on through the final corner, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm full of shit then. I didn't think I was that close.
Yeah.
But you do get in that rhythm. You
right.
do get in I don't think it's because you're not trying to put the car that close. You're just trying to put the car in the right spot.
Right.
And
you don't really think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, there's one race at Lancaster, I think it was Luke Selican, tried making a pass around the outside in that final corner. He damn near got it done. It might have been actually the last year. Now that I think about it, it might have been in 19.
I think Jake got the win that way over Billy.
He got second over that.
Oh, was it second? Okay, gotcha.
That was the race I won by like a lot.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, but that was like to help Jake out a little bit over how much I've been giving him crap.
Right. Yeah.
That was a really really cool moment for him as well, because like I remember all of our buddies that were still in juniors, they were all watching on like that big rooftop or whatever that's right next to the start finish. And they were watching us go by, and they were like, "Oh my God, Dante won!" And then Jake pulls off that crazy pass.
Yeah.
It was so cool. He full sideways, barely stuck it.
Yeah,
almost hit the wall. It was so cool.
And it was, and then actually, I want to say, I want to say it was Calvo, but it might not have been Calvo. I don't think about it. Tried to make the move
in cadets,
and was it that?
I think it was
and
cadets.
Put it in the fence, and it's like, well, you went
tried.
all in, you tried it.
Yeah,
and
I think it was Ryan Charteau that helped them out a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
really?
okay.
I think it was. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Man. So now you've been racing here for a while. We talk about these different kinds of races and stuff that you've done. And again, you just got done racing at Pro Tour not that long ago. You don't go for the championships, but is there a championship or something like that even though it may not be the goal or the focus, that you're like, God, that'd be pretty damn cool if I could pick that off, or that you sign up for, even though you focus on the race, you sign up for it to try to get that championship? Is there anything out there you're like, yeah, I would like to get that?
I think after getting the ProKart championship, I've kind of thought of like, oh yeah, that'd be really cool to get the Pro Tour championship, right? And I think going into maybe not the first senior year, but in the second senior year, as I kind of really figured things out, I was like, oh yeah, that'll be something really cool to chase. And yeah, from then on, we just kind of went race by race, like I said, and just doing the best that I can.
What's your best finish so far overall in the championship?
In Pro Tour?
Pro Tour, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was that year that I crashed out. It was probably 6th or so.
Yeah.
So it wasn't horrible.
You've had some good weekends or good individual results, but the entire season
Putting
they haven't
the
been
whole
able to
thing
quite
together,
put it
yeah.
together
Right.
yet.
Right, exactly.
And then we won't really talk about SuperNats.
Yeah.
But obviously, as a street course, that's got to be one that you feel pretty damn comfortable at.
Yeah. I've always liked SuperNats, especially that 1 year that I ended up finishing 7th in the Tony Kart.
Right.
So that was really cool. I think that's when I started to get really comfortable with getting up against barriers.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I've always liked SuperNats. It's always been fun, and I've never been afraid of getting close to the wall.
What I mean, talking about you being an adult and doing the senior stuff, whatnot. Have you ever tried to or wanted to branch into cars or anything like that? Have you done any car stuff? I want to say I remember you doing something car stuff.
Yeah, we ended up doing the F4 US Championship in 2019.
Okay,
So that was
all
cool.
right.
We did.
How'd you get started in that deal, or how'd you go that way?
Chris had good contacts, he ended up reaching out to a team called Kiwi Motorsport, Crossing Kiwi Motorsport, and they had a few drivers in F4. They had Joshua Carr, Arthur Laced, and Jose Blanco. Those guys were great drivers. Joshua Carr is a phenomenal driver. He won SuperNats 1 year. Arthur Lace is a phenomenal driver as well. I never heard of Jose Blanco before that, but his dad is actually a very, very good driver.
Gotcha.
Anyways, going into that year, yeah, we ended up running with that team. We did one test before I did that. If you guys ever know, I did that Richard Mille shootout thing over in France.
Oh, no.
I don't think I've heard that one.
Yeah, because I ran the Freeline chassis, and which is technically a Burrell chassis.
Right.
I was in league with the whole Richard Mille thing, so we were able to get myself into doing a shootout over in Europe. At the Le Mans track, and I was able to go, do a little shootout thing to hopefully get a sponsorship for the F4 season. Unfortunately, we didn't, but it was cool. It's cool having a good experience with all these like guys who are in racing and all that.
And you get to measure up a little bit at the
Right.
same time, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I had like 1 day in a car experience before that, or 1 or 2 days, and those guys supposedly you weren't supposed to have like any experience whatsoever, but those guys had already been like testing
Done some stuff, yeah.
Not really races, but like we're testing already and just driving cars.
If you have any kind of backing or ability, you're going to go to a shootout where you can potentially get a bigger deal.
Yeah.
And you have any ability, whether it be money or connections or otherwise, and you don't take it, I think that's just dumb.
Yeah.
Like, you got to go in there full tilt if you can.
Yeah.
Was it a full deal? Like you had to be good on the track and you had to talk to people good as well?
Yeah, we had
Like media stuff or whatever?
Yeah, thank you.
It was
You're
a little
welcome.
it was a little sketchy a little bit, because like I don't think it's a little unorthodox, I guess, because we did do like a 1 day talking to people, like they had like an interview thing, and then they had us go work out in a gym just to see how we are physically,
Right.
and then we did like sort of a mental test. So they had us like go do these different exercises as well as like a reaction test and all that sort of stuff. But whereas like me and Nikki Hayes also went to that. Me and Nikki Hayes, we worked really, really hard on the first day and did all that physical stuff. And arguably we were like the best guys doing that. We personally felt like it didn't really take much of effect into the whole result. They kind of just really were looking for who was the fastest driver.
Gotcha.
I remember you and Chris out here all the time, just cranking laps and him working with you and stuff. And then I remember looking over and in between sessions, you're doing sit-ups, push-ups. He's got you doing full workouts and stuff. Was that leading up to this event, or was?
I think it was, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, going in after the whole Richard Mille thing, I didn't make that, obviously.
Right, you had mentioned that you thought yourself and Hayes were pretty solid in the physical department, like getting shit done on the outside. But in the car, you guys just didn't have the experience.
Nicky was really good. He did, because he'd been doing a bit of F1600, so he had a lot more car experience than I had.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I only had a day or two in the car, so I didn't.
What was the biggest challenge of the car, having not had any experience?
For me, it's always been the weight and understanding how the weight transfers. And knowing that, like, when the weight shifts this way, it's not really the car getting loose. It's just that's how the weight moves.
Right.
And for me, like, as I got more and more laps in the car, it was just all that, like, understanding that that's just the weight. It's not like the
by
car's
default,
getting loose.
you were just a step behind them because of that.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, as I did more laps, I just understood it more, and I've learned how to like play around it. Like I can go in a go-kart, right, and I can swerve the thing left and right, and understand that, like, that's just how it feels, right? That's just how the car is getting loose, but I can control it, right? As I got more and more laps into the car, I just learned how to control that again, right? In a different vehicle.
What did you think about driving a car versus driving a go-kart, though? I mean, I know you just said, like, as far as you learning what the theme feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find it more exciting, less exciting?
I feel like there's different aspects of it that you find more exciting. When it comes to a kart, right? We love how close it is to the ground, how agile it is, how fast it feels like you're going. But I feel like with a car, it's more like it's a car. So you're banging through gears, you're going fast through these corners. It's I think that shifting the weight around is what makes it fun, right? So you have that bit of car control as you go through the corners.
I know some guys have not liked or have like the downforce.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you're using the downforce to help you slow down.
Yeah, you had talked about the weight thing, but
Mm-hmm.
was the downforce an added challenge? Or did you
adapt to that pretty quickly, you think?
For the F4 car, we honestly didn't have like that much downforce. Like, yeah, it's got a wing in the back and the front, and it has like these little floor panels on the sides, but it doesn't have that much downforce. Like nothing crazy like a Formula Renault, for example,
Right.
that has like all these wings or everything. But I will say, like, we had essentially little gutters that were on the front wing, like towards the back of the front wing, that like little lips that were sticking up, so we could take off, and
like a wicker?
Yeah, and we could take that off if we wanted to. And personally, I could tell a difference when that would come off.
Gotcha.
So it was enough to make a difference, but it wasn't like, oh, we could go this
Dramatic.
much faster because we have the wing and all that.
More about the feel.
Yeah, more about the feel for sure.
So you come back from where was Richard Mille at?
It was in France. It was at the Bugatti track in Le Mans.
Was that a week-long deal? How long was it?
It was a 2-day deal.
Oh, 2 day. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
You come back from that. What was the plan when you came back here?
So we had already planned on doing the F4 US Championship the following year.
Mm-hmm.
So from then on, we just started getting prepared for that. We started working.
And that was with Kiwi Crosslink?
Yeah, Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport. We started going over to, I think it is Dallas, where they're based out of, and we just go testing at their track, just putting more laps in, putting seat time into the car.
What track in Dallas?
It's called, shoot, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a little low key track.
Okay.
Not really big. It's a club track essentially, but it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's got a lot of elevation changes, all these different kinds of corners, hairpin stuff, long bendy corners, downhill stuff.
It's like a little Tiddlywinks track. Circuit of the Americas.
I was just about to say that. Yeah. The name escapes
No.
me. Yeah.
So you got a lot of time with those guys testing and whatnot, but you were going to run with them for the F4, the national championship, right? Across both,
Right?
Because they got an East and a West or something like that.
Yeah,
don't
they do have a West Coast one, but the East one is the bigger one. It's
That's what I thought. Yeah.
more
Gotcha.
prestigious. So
you did the East.
Yes,
Gotcha.
Correct. We ended up, the first round was at Road Atlanta, which it was okay. I still was getting used to the car, which is a thing I'll always regret. It took me so long to get used to the car. Because I guess we always had like a lower budget, so I was always afraid of crashing the car. I didn't want to make a fool of myself.
Yeah.
So, but I'll still
Or
always
shit can the
regret.
entire season out of the gate because he ran out of budget.
Right.
Yeah.
So I always regret not pushing it as hard as I could. Yeah, at Road Atlanta, it was okay. We had okay pace. My passing wasn't great because I didn't want to go for stuff that would end up in a crash.
Do you think, because I know for sure when I was getting in the competition, I was a kart owner, right? When I first got into it, I'm like, I had a shoestring budget. Like I had no spare parts, no nothing. If something breaks, I could barely make the regional. Like I could barely afford to get there.
Yeah.
So if I bent an axle, I'm like, shit. Like there was one time I bent an axle at Tri-Cities, which is a ways from where I lived in Oregon. This is in Washington. And Becky, my wife, drove from Portland, Oregon to Richland, Washington with the spare axle that I had because my dumbass didn't bring it with me. Don't know why. But anyway, point
She
being.
shows up. You're like, Ron Axel. Go back.
Go back and get the other one.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, anyway, I was going to say, like, it wasn't even the right axle. Like, my dad literally created the axle by milling the keyway.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Shout out to my dad.
Nice.
Anyways, where I'm going with that is, like, I had no budget. So if I crashed, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
When you have no budget, you're the first to lift. You're the first to get out of it. And you're never driving at your, quote, potential.
Right.
Because there's too much risk.
Yeah.
Right? So whether that be, like with me, the engine's force cycling a little bit because I can't afford the rebuilds, like, all the other kinds of stuff. And then adding to that, bud, you're going to Road Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Had you been there before?
No.
So you got to learn the track. Well,
Yep.
if you're still trying to learn the car, like this is something I was having with the Rock GP.
Yep.
I was still trying to learn that engine package a little bit when I went to Phoenix, and then I had to learn Phoenix. So I'm already on the back foot because I'm not like competent in the engine package.
You're driving.
Yeah.
You're not like confident and competent in the car, and now you got to learn a whole new bloody place at that. I mean, that's a hell of a challenge.
Yeah, me and Chris will always kind of say how we wish we had more time in the car the year before, so just be more prepared, right?
Right.
So going into Road Atlanta, I had to learn the track. I mean, I did some stuff like on iRacing or Assetto Corsa, but you never learn the real thing until you're there, right?
Yeah, especially when you don't have the confidence and the context of, okay, I know actually how the car is going to feel.
Yeah.
Where I would assume first time you go out, you're like tiptoeing, like,
Yep.
how does this actually feel?
Yeah.
So when you go out and learn a new track, do you attack it right away? Do you kind of ease into it? What's your thoughts on going on a new track?
I think when I was first went to Pro Tour, like for example, when I first went to go drive the Utah track in Miller Motorsports, I think I was a little bit more gentle with it, especially like with how I was still as a driver back then. I wasn't the greatest driver still,
right?
But as I kind of slowly got more comfortable with it, and like with how the SKUSA format is, you have quite a lot of sessions to do it, right? You have like almost 2 days to go and practice it. Whereas like we're going back to F4, you have like 4 sessions.
Yeah.
You damn sure better know the car.
It's one of those things. Yeah,
sure.
If you're going to be there, they expect you to have some kind of thing figured out.
Yeah, I think when I went to Road Atlanta, I had like 5 days in a car.
Yeah.
Man.
So you're already deep into the pool at that point.
Yeah.
And were you going to, like, was every single track you went to the first time you've been there?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the next round we went to Pittsburgh, which is a very fun track. They did the Rotax Stars and Stripes at the same facility. So
cool.
It's just they have the kart track there, and then the car track is where we were at. That's a really, really fun track as well. It's got like a whole little second corner is like a whole little Laguna Seca thing where it's like you go down a sort of corkscrew-ish sort of deal. It's really, really fun. It's a great track. But yeah, over there, more experience, right? A little bit more feel of how the whole weekend goes, so I was feeling a little bit better.
To that point, maybe going into Road Atlanta, not as confident as you came out of Road Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Are you feeling like, okay, all right, I think I can at least carry something into the next round? Like, I feel a lot better about the car.
For sure. Especially like I think we had a test day a week or two after that.
Oh, and something else popped in my head too. You may be testing and whatnot, but wheel to wheel with cars.
Oh,
you hadn't done wheel to wheel with cars, so this is gonna be like Road Atlanta's like, all right, well, rolling start, standing start. What'd you guys do?
Standing start.
Starts and everything like that. Now you're wheel to wheel with these guys for the first time.
It's a little bit like, oh crap.
Yeah, you don't want to, and you don't have the budget to be throwing away, barge boards and stuff like that.
If I would feel way more comfortable in a rolling start. How did the standing start go?
It actually wasn't that bad.
Oh,
honestly.
really?
Yeah, like if no one really stalled, so that was good.
All right. Nice.
And everyone kind of figures their way into the first few corners. I didn't mind it, honestly.
Okay, cool.
To me, it's a little safer, I think, because I feel like rolling starts,
newer drivers, or like a junior formula,
right. I think with rolling starts, people can be a little anxious to get going. I mean, you see it in karting quite a bit, right? People can be anxious going.
People who know what they're doing is bad enough. As it is,
So, it wasn't too bad with a standing start. We got sorted out pretty easily.
Nice.
It was nice.
So you rolled in at Pittsburgh, and how'd that go with your second ever race?
A lot better. We had at least pretty solid pace. I think my best finish, I think I got a top 10 that weekend. Yeah. So that was
How
cool.
many cars in the field?
25
like 10.
or so.
Yeah, there's about 10.
Yeah, about 10. I finished 10th out of 10.
No, out of 9. What?
Nice.
It actually was a pretty decently stacked field. Like Christian Brooks was racing that.
That's right.
The 3 guys from my 10 who were obviously like they were top 5 contenders all weekend. Dylan Savella was racing that. I can't remember. Right? Oh, Nikki Hayes did that as well.
Was there a lot of under the Crosslink tent? Was there a bunch of sharing data? Kind of like it was in karting.
It was that I will give a lot of credit to that team. I loved that team. They were very, very, very welcoming. They shared all the data. They talked with every driver, and they made every driver make sure they talked to each other, had good relations.
Nice.
It was cool. I became really good friends with Arthur Lace there because he's a really cool guy. He's very friendly, so it was cool. I love those guys.
And you so you have a much better round 2.
Yes.
How many races are there in the season? What all tracks did you go to? And you're kind of like summarizing the rest of the season. How did things finish up?
There's 6 races throughout the season, and they do 2 to 3 races every weekend.
6 weekends, and then you get 3 rounds.
Yeah,
per.
exactly.
Gotcha. So like 18-ish rounds, if you will.
Correct.
And 6 weekends. That's a lot better on the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So after the Pittsburgh weekend, we had better pace. I think I had a crash in race 2. A little unfortunate crash. I kind of made a dumb move. Whatever it is, what it is. And then going into the second race, we had like a mechanical failure. So,
man,
couldn't finish that race out as well. And then going into the third round or third race, if you will, at VIR, that was a fun track as well. I think anyone who's
that
ever
track
driven
looks
there,
cool.
Yeah, anyone who's ever driven there will probably tell you that's
fun
a fun
on a
track.
sim. That's all I've done, but fun on a sim.
We if anyone's familiar with the whole S section that's going up to the tree corner, we go flat out through that. So
cool.
It's awesome. Yeah, we're banging gears as we go up it and flat out hitting every curb. So it's cool. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, again, much better pace. I ended up finishing my best finish was the last one on Sunday. We ended up 4th.
Nice.
Barely missing out on a podium. Me and a few of my buddies who raced that will always laugh. The series is a little infamous about how they have a lot of yellow flag finishes. So a lot of people would make like these dumb pile-ups or dumb crashes where they get stuck on the track. Anyways, we went into one of these laps, and I made the pass for third going at the last left at the end of the S's, and I held the corner, or I held the position for the tree corner, and then going down the back straightaway, I just got drafted past, and then they threw the yellow, and then they called the race from there. So that sucked, but it was cool. You know, I was that close to finishing on a podium.
Yeah. The pace was there.
Yeah,
the ability
for sure.
was there.
For sure, the pace was there, and
that was your third weekend.
Yeah,
and your race, for less than 10 races in the car.
Yeah.
Was this kind of the driving? Obviously got better, but as far as you being around the other cars, did you kind of start to feel like little Dante when you're like, I got to get used to being next to people?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think especially at that race, I got quite more comfortable with it. Like, I'll go back to a little bit.
Chris goes up to him and is like, all you got to do is get next to him, dude.
I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that. At the qualifying I had, it was a bit of a disaster. The lap 1, I just dropped the wheel at the last corner, and I spun out, got a ton of grass on my car.
Oh, man.
And then, so I was able to pull back in the pits, get the grass all cleaned out. Then we go back out, and I'm trying to, I'm panicking a little bit, right? I want to try to get my speed back going, and I want to put some laps in. And then I bin it in one of the corners of the tree corner. I just go in a little too hard, lock up the brakes, hit the wall. So
was your dad there?
No, my dad never went to any of these races because he's busy, and so it was always just me and Chris. But
thank goodness.
Yeah, seriously. He asked me what happened, and I'm like, I crashed it. And he's
Your dad throws down the lap timer, tosses a clipboard in the air, walks away.
I was watching a race here. I can't believe it.
Yeah, so I crashed out. I had to start, I think it was like 26 or something like that for all the races, or not for all the races, but for the race 1. And then race 1, I went from 26 or something to like 14th.
Nice.
That was cool. And then race 2 went from 14th to like 8 or so.
Oh, it's like you continued from that. So
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. The way they do it is they keep. They do
Was
it
it by lap time?
It's by lap times. Yeah, it's not by positions.
Okay.
So I ended up starting 8th or so for the race 3 of the weekend, and then I kind of got a little lucky. There was a bit of a crash up front. So then from then on, they had a yellow flag. They got everyone got close again, and then I just took advantage of it. Was able to make my way up to 3rd, 4th.
But in your third weekend, you've learned a bunch. You've kind of clicked a little bit here.
Yeah,
things are starting to get sorted, and you still have half the season to go.
Yeah, we did a test in Houston. I think it was like a week or 2 prior to that VIR weekend, and the same sort of thing. Some things clicked, some things made sense. I understood what the limits are of the car, so I could push up to that point, and I understood how the car worked a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Was there much tuning going on with the car? Like, all right, here's your base setup for a new driver, and we start slowly doing stuff with it? Or was it not really changing too much throughout the weekends?
For the Kiwi guys, I think they had quite a lot of experience at every track, so they already knew a pretty solid baseline setup. And I think they would like make adjusting changes throughout the weekend, whereas like off of the other drivers, because I personally, I'm the kind of driver that always likes to work at my driving first, then I will make a setup change. If I don't see anything that's a big red flag, I'll always just work on my driving.
Well, and I think that's going to be one of those things that I agree 100%. I'll go to a new track, and you have your baseline set up. Like I run an OTK, and it's basically the blank setup. Here it is.
Yep.
The driver's got to get his shit figured out. And then once I got that dialed in, even if I'm on old tires, I'm working on the car balance. If the balance is there and the driver's okay, then we can start messing with stuff.
Right.
As you're trying to find your own balance, if you will, your own kind of baseline, they've got the setup. Because now you have that feedback's different, right? You had the shorthand with your dad, like, hey, it's doing this, it's doing that. We got to do this. But the car, you're like, I
don't know how it goes.
Yeah, so you don't have that shorthand. You don't have that. What'd you do feedback-wise with these guys for adjustments when they're the ones that have the knowledge, but you're still the guy driving the car?
Yeah, for me, it was more like they'll make a change and then they'll ask me how it feels. So then that's how I can get a feel for like what this does, and also like
what direction they're trying to go.
Right, what direction they're trying to go. What this like what makes it push more? What makes it slide more?
And are you doing this on a test day or a race weekend?
Both.
Ay.
It wasn't that bad because and
I would assume because you're saying they already have a baseline setup.
I guess you're not out to lunch then, are you?
Well, and they're going off of you and the other drivers. They're probably not making big swings, right? It's a small change.
Yeah,
and
like it was a bit of a change on the front anti-roll bar, or it was like I said before, they take out the little gutters, or they just change the angle of the wing at the back, and those little changes I could definitely feel something, right? Like,
gotcha.
Like I'm a driver that knows what's going on, right? Like I'm not immune to changes.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So I still understand that aspect.
I've always hated though trying new shit on game day. You know, I want to try it on practice day. I want to try it on test day. Like, hey, we're gonna do this on race day. I don't know if I like that too much. You know,
it was funny. I think it was the day that it was. I think it was the opener of Tri-C that you're hanging out with us at the Formula Works 10 a little bit. And I was going back with you on a few things, and then I talked to Travis and Gary about what to do with the kart, and they both suggested different things, but to get the same effect. And I think I ended up doing the safer change of what I felt more comfortable with.
Yeah.
But man, I hate the unknown on game day. I think to your point, Mike, I'm like, I want to stay within my comfort box or zone, you know, and if I can only change pressures throughout the day, that's awesome. But I'm like, you know, one of them suggested cut me axle a little bit. The other guy suggested caster. I'm like,
you know what it is? It's confidence.
Yeah.
I've done that before. I know what to expect from that change.
Yeah, exactly.
And on game day, if they're like, dude, swap the axle out. If you've done that before and you felt that before, you're like, yeah, swap it. We're good.
Yeah.
But if you're like, all right, you guys are the experts, and I'll figure it out. Like, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So you're with these guys, and they know what the hell's going on setup wise. And like you say, you're not an idiot. You know what the hell's going on. You can feel the changes at least.
Yeah.
You may not be able to go, hey, we needed to go 3 clicks on the anti-roll bar because you don't have that kind of experience. But you can say, I need more front. I need more rear.
Yeah.
Things like that.
For sure. And I think it was one of these changes that they ended up making to the car, and all the drivers gave a certain feedback, and then I was like, no, it feels like this, and then Chris was like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to feel. And I was like, oh, so I do know what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Well, and again, that's going to be a nice little shot in the arm. Where you're like, all right, sweet.
Yeah.
Small piece of confidence there. Never mind what I'm doing on track. That was third weekend.
Yeah.
How'd the rest of the year go?
So because I had a few crashes throughout the year already, I couldn't do the next 2 rounds. So we missed out on Mid-Ohio and Sebring.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So we waited until the last...
Sorry, real quick. When you looked at the schedule, is there a particular track you're like, I really want to go to this track?
VIR.
Yeah?
Oh,
for sure.
cool.
So you got a chance, and you happen to do the best at VIR too.
It was. I loved that weekend. It was so much fun.
Awesome. That's awesome. So where's the finale at then? You missed those 2.
Circuit of the Americas.
Oh, come on,
nice.
son.
Yeah, same weekend
It's
as
basically
F1 as well.
a painted cow speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not at all, but I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
So how'd it
Just
go?
like it. It was tough. I think a little bit of the intimidation kind of got to me a little bit, just being like at an F1 place, and I kind of made a silly mistake during, I think it was qualifying or whatever. They had us pull into the pits at this weird spot, and for whatever reason, my brain just had a fart and I missed it, and they made me start in the back because of it. And especially that weekend, it was like it's like a upper 30s car field, so it was a big race. And
were you guys with F1?
Same weekend.
Same weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking. You guys are with F1
Oh, like the
that
same
weekend.
paddock, you mean?
No, just the same weekend.
Yeah, same weekend. Same weekend.
So it's you guys, F2.
No, not F2 actually.
Oh, they weren't here that weekend?
No, so they only like to have one or two sister
I was to say,
races.
I think if F1's there, it's going to be one of the other two series,
Yeah.
not both.
Oh,
just
they have
because of schedule
F1.
and
There's
shit.
obviously 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
But in the States, they had 1 and 4, and that was it?
I think they also had like the Porsche GT Cup or whatever, something like that.
Gotcha. Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, so I kind of made a fool of myself in the qualifying or whatever, and just made a dumb mistake. I will always hate myself for that. But
where did you end up? Where would your time have put you though?
Think probably top 15 or so.
Okay.
Top half.
Yeah. So
versus not.
Yeah,
top half.
versus DFL.
Yeah.
So from then on, it was just kind of like running my laps, running my races, and then I did make some ground, but it was just like because of the way all those drivers in the back kind of were, they always gave a lot more space than they needed to off the start. So I would always pass some guys for the first 5 or so laps, and then I couldn't catch anyone else.
By
just
that
'cause they're
point,
so
it's
far
too
away.
late. Yeah.
And that
So-
seemed like a track that drafting would be a thing too.
Huge
Yeah.
for sure. That track is built for F1 and F1 only.
Yeah.
So-
So if you're anything slower, you're like, it's kind of like hearing a sport cart, to be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
eat a sandwich. Yeah, okay,
got
go to the
nothing
next
but time,
corner.
yeah.
Draft for days.
It just sucks. If you're by yourself, you're not catching anyone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Aside from that, was it pretty cool? You're like, man, F1's going to be on track like in another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
after I'm
You're
done.
sharing the entire
was-
weekend
yeah.
with
It was
those guys.
cool. It was cool seeing those guys, go around the track. We were sat, if you guys don't know, we were sat at the end of the back straightaway, that like little hairpin left.
Yeah.
It's after the hairpin, the whole back piece.
Yeah, we were at the end of that, and we could all see them go in as hard as they could. And it was actually really cool watching like all these different drivers. Right, I would always remember how Lewis Hamilton is able to go like 30 meters deeper than everyone on the braking zone.
Man,
Whether that's him or the car, whatever.
it's him doing it. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's cool.
He probably did the Troy Adams school. It's all about the left foot braking drills.
Yeah,
baby.
yeah, dude.
Come on.
For sure the best sounding car I will say is the Red Bulls. Those
really?
Honda engines sounded real. They always do like this little purr when they would,
they do.
but right before they get on,
Yeah.
before they get on the gas. It was always super cool. Anyways, it was really cool seeing those guys go around. When we did our track walk, we were walking right in front of the whole Ferrari team, so I got to see Charles Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So the car deal, you got an opportunity to go do it. It just kind of getting to know you over this podcast here. I don't think you have delusions of grandeur, like we're going to go up the ladder, but it's not out of the question. After this truncated season because of the budget and the crashes, what's the thought process moving forward? And you're still karting now. So were you doing karting at the same time as the F4 season?
I definitely wasn't doing it as much, but I was still doing a lot of the national stuff.
Okay.
Like Winter Nationals. I think I did the Florida Winter Tour for SKUSA at the beginning of the year. So I did all the national stuff, essentially.
Gotcha.
Going into the next year, a lot of the pressure of, having to do really well kind of got to me. And I think especially that year, I didn't really have a lot of fun racing other than being on track. I like off track, it was just constant pressure. If you got to do well, you have to finish well. So,
And I assume that was around you and just floating around you the entire time you did the car stuff too, right?
yeah, because you only want to try to spend 1 year at every level, right? You want to try to do the best you can. So that pressure just wasn't something I really liked or enjoyed. So I wanted to take a step back the next year to just relax and, just have fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
These days I always try to preach trying to, just go out and have fun, not really caring so much about how I finish. Like the end result will come, right? If I have fun and if I do what I know how to do, because I've done this for years, so I know what I'm doing at this point.
Right.
So, if I just go out and do my thing, it'll come to me. And that's something, going back a little bit, when we first raced in Europe, Chris, one of these weekends, pulled me aside and was like, "Hey man, what's going on with you? Like, you don't look like you're having fun." And I had a frown the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And he pulled me aside and was just like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, man, I don't like being here right now." And he's like, "Well, okay, so just go." And like, it was like the last race or two or last heat or two. So he was like, "Okay, just go do your thing. You know how to drive, you know how to take a go-kart around a track." And the last 2 races ended up being my best finishes through the whole weekend.
That's what it is too. I mean, with the coaching I've done over the years, you start to learn drivers are different types of people.
Right.
Where you're going to have a mental driver, an emotional driver, you know, the different kinds of deals, and everybody gets affected by things differently.
Right.
And actually I was just working with somebody this past week, and I won't name any names, but I was just working with this person, and I'm like, stop trying to drive the kart and just drive the kart.
Right.
You already know how to do it. Just go do it. Like, relax.
Yeah.
Who cares? Right? Nobody else does. So nobody cares how you're doing. You're the one putting the pressure on yourself. Now, and there are some cases where, no, actually, you get outside pressure. Do the championship, whatever it is.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, when you go out on the grid, when you put the shield down, it's just you in the ride.
Right.
So go get it and relax. It's going to give you what you got, and you're going to give it what you got, and hopefully the end result's okay. But to your point about that pressure, and like the last time I remember it coming on me, aside from Sonoma, was actually at the SuperNats, and Jim was like, "Hey, Jim Barry, my guy, he goes, hey, so they sold this kart, so make sure you bring it back in one piece." Well, I'm screwed. I'm like, it's SuperNats, and I'm getting sent on, and out of the way, move out of the way.
Not the best spot either.
As mid-pack in the main, in the final or whatever. And we had pace for top 10. We were on the heels of Billy Cleveland for like 10th, and it was Sin City, and that's SuperNats. But point being is, if you, and here I think the other thing is, once you realize that about yourself. Right, to your point, as soon as you're able to go, nah, screw it, just have fun. Like you've always said through this entire podcast, I just focus on the race, don't think about the big picture, and also keep yourself in the right kind of frame of mind. Because if we're having fun, wow, Dante does pretty damn good. And as soon as you start going, man, I better make sure I get this, I better hit my marks, and you start getting in your own head, that's what starts going by the wayside.
Yeah, I'll never forget this one time I was just practicing. I think it was in juniors or whatever. We're out at Adams, and I'm just turning laps, just getting consistency down, right? Just fine tuning things, right, in my driving, and then
just to practice,
right? Just to practice. And I was throughout the day, I was turning like some lap. Let's just call it a 45-second lap, and I was trying to hit a 44 lap, and I didn't know how to do it. Like I was kind of getting frustrated a little bit. And then my dad just goes like, "Okay, we'll leave after this next session. Just go out and just go drive for a little bit." And I was like, "Okay." And I went to go out, and I'm literally thinking about what I want to eat for dinner that night. And I'm not nothing else. I'm just going around, just turning laps. What do I want to eat for dinner? Oh, that sounds really good. I ended up turning like 3/10 quicker than what I'd done all day.
So what we need to know is what was for dinner.
I don't remember that, but
that was the secret of the speed.
Isn't that so funny though, man? Like for the sport car testing him and I do, like sometimes it's qualifying testing where you got to go out and you got to be within a certain time,
Yeah. And you're all by yourself.
Yeah, and it's boring, dude, and it's a sport car, so it's not the fastest thing. You got time to think. And I'm like, oh shit, that was a pretty good time.
Yeah.
And even on race days or practice days, I'm sure like Mike's had it too. I'm just out there driving. I'm like, oh, that wasn't too bad. Can't tell you what the hell I just did because I was just my mind's wandering. Or whatever,
autopilot, man.
Yeah.
But it's so funny how those moments happen.
I find that to exactly your point. Like even it can be like a challenge, right? I was starting to think about all kinds of other stuff. And I found that the more laser focus I got, and like I need to hit this, need to hit this, need to hit this, I'd be more prone to mistakes.
Right, because I feel like it's sort of that idea of looking in front of you and looking way ahead of you.
I agree.
Right, so it's like when you try to get laser focused, you think about every little precise thing, right? You think about every little mark.
Absolutely.
Whereas if you just think about something else, you're just driving.
Yeah.
Right?
If you let the autopilot do the autopilot, like, I mean, think about some of those scenarios, right, where you actually, like, how many laps had you already turned that day? How many freaking laps have you turned?
Like, probably like 100 something or so.
So you know how to do this.
Yeah.
So when you finally said, well, spaghetti sounds good.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, wait, no, I had spaghetti on Tuesday. Oh, look.
You know what sounds
lap.
good?
Yeah.
Nathan's.
That's a little inside joke.
Oh, man.
I like that.
Really quick, so you do the F4 deal, and obviously you had the crash, you had to miss the next few races or whatever. But the financial stuff, was it you had a decent amount of sponsorship? Was it, funding from the family or whatever? What was that?
Most of it was from my dad and like from his work being an architect and all that. We had a little bit of help from Capri Tools also, and we got a bit of a deal with Kiwi Motorsport thanks to them. So not much sponsorship help, but we did get a little bit. I actually got a free suit from Sparco, so that was really
nice.
cool.
Nice.
Really, really nice suit. I love that suit.
Dude, that stuff goes such a long way too.
Yeah.
Just like $1.50, sometimes more for a racing suit.
Like custom suit.
Yeah.
all the logos and everything.
That's awesome.
Nice. And it's super comfortable.
Because I think
That's
we
great.
can all agree that one of the biggest hurdles personal hurdles is, can you afford the gear?
Yeah.
No, for sure.
You can get a karting suit for, at the lowest level, a couple $100, $200-300. Fire suit,
Yeah, fire suit's real expensive.
Your
budget-
Hans device,
Yeah.
a helmet that's approved, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
The undercoverings, all that stuff, the long
Yeah,
johns,
exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah, a couple thou in the safety equipment game.
like, I still got to buy the car.
I think I showed up to Road Atlanta too, like not having the fireproof socks, and they were like, "Do you have your socks?" And I'm like, "I need socks." And they were like,
Oh,
"Oh."
man.
So I went down to they had a little trailer guy pull up. He had a bit of a shop, so I was like,
Yeah.
"I need socks." I didn't know that was a thing.
I honestly had no idea either.
Yeah, they have you wear specific fireproof
The
socks.
full
wow.
the full underwear game. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so-
I knew about the pants and the shirt.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So for you kids out there who are trying to get into cars, make sure you have your socks.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
How'd you feel physically after those weekends in the car?
As you put more and more laps into it, you get a lot better at it. I think it uses a bit of a different muscle than a kart does. So it's more like, I don't remember it, but it's more this muscle. Not so much
More in the forearm
more
than
in the
the
forearm
arm.
than the
Or the
Yeah.
bicep.
Yeah, exactly. So because of the way you sit in the car and the way the wheel is, it's a lot higher up. So I think that's why.
Got a different leverage that you're trying to use.
Yeah. And obviously
you're almost laid down.
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's more on the neck than the
sure.
ribs and the body. So it's using a different muscle, but like I said, as you put more and more laps into it, you got better at it. And I've always been a driver that doesn't quite get that tired, as I may be a little chubby and a little bit short, but I can do a decent race and not be super tired. Like this past Pro Tour weekend, a lot of my friends were like, "Yeah, we're getting this like arm pump thing where we come out of the go-kart and we're like stiff." And I'm just like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did actually. I was getting ready to do a challenge. We talked about, I think maybe even on the podcast or not, but I was getting ready for the challenge, and I had this bright idea that I was going to do 2 classes. Have you run the GP, the Rock
Never.
GP?
No.
Oy, oy, oy. So try it. I know that
Well-
there's a couple in the Giebler tent.
Yeah.
Try a drive one just so you can feel the power band difference. That is a monster.
I have driven an OK though.
Oh, there you go.
right.
And I hear it's very similar.
It's faster.
Well, I know it's faster. My thought, and the speed wasn't the problem. It was how the power band hit.
Kicks, yeah.
That was in the timing of it.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, on the GP, I've never done the OK, but
The OK seems stupid quick, dude.
It's so to put into perspective, I came out here one weekend with Rob Logan when he was in an S4 shifter, and me and him went at it the whole session.
Wow.
So I kept up
it
with
is
him.
a single speed, and the GP.
It's a
sits-
single speed direct drive.
Yeah, and so you got single speed carts going damn near shifter speed, status.
Yeah.
Right.
Wasn't that when Major League Karting was trying to be a thing?
Major League Karting.
Major League Karting.
Do you remember that?
Never heard of that.
Oh wait,
It was around fairly split. It never became a thing.
you're right.
I forgot who the guys.
That was
Was it
2-3 months of a thing. We're going to edit this out because there's no way anybody knows that.
No, because this was a super long time ago, but I remember you being out here in the OK and trying to push start that.
I think
thing
that
on
was
the
when
grid.
you either were getting ready for or came back from Europe. Because I want to say
Yeah,
that's
probably.
what you drove over
Okay.
there. Oh, no, you did the X30.
No, they did OKs. So for the FIA stuff, they did OKs.
Yeah, but you did the X30, right?
Yeah, correct.
So, and then who else was doing the OK kart?
Oh man,
Probably like Morgan or something.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah,
And more
if I had to guess,
recently,
it was Morgan.
Enzo, I think, is doing the OK.
Yeah.
Ligny?
Yeah.
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 You were talking about like what it costs, like your pops helping you out a big amount, different things like that. Do you mind throwing out what does it cost to go do an F4 season?
I would say around 200,000 to 300,000.
Holy crapinoli,
Holy crap.
shnikes!
It's like that's all including like tests, like at least several test weekends.
If you're gonna do
crash damage.
if you're gonna do it right,
insurance,
yeah.
If you're gonna do it right on maybe the shoestring side, sounds like.
No.
You felt pretty good. Well, I mean, you sat out 2 races. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I guess
maybe
I'd say
maybe
so,
we're
yeah.
asking $500,000, 500.
That's putting it pretty safe. Yeah.
500 is like if you got $500,000, you can go do F4 and be comfy.
Be very comfy. For
But
sure.
what's crazy about that is the entry junior formula.
Yeah.
Entry junior
Yeah.
formula, $500,000, bro.
Yeah.
Holy shitballs.
Yeah, you better be going for something if
To
you.
your point
Right.
earlier about you got 1 year, and you better because there was a sponsorship if you won the F4 championship, right?
Yeah, you got the whole next F3 season for free, or at least paid.
Right.
I got like $1 million sponsorship or something like that.
That is nuts. So where I'm going to go with that, bud, and the reason why I asked that was you've done the car thing on. I mean, granted, it's a aero car, if you will,
Yeah.
F4. Have you thought about doing any other car stuff?
When I was still, entertaining the idea of going to make it big in cars, I was always looking more towards sports car stuff. So
Okay.
like GT racing, prototype racing, all that. And yeah, I think back then we were kind of looking into the whole Miata thing. And
Oh yeah,
at least like right now it's pretty popular, right? I think they get like 40 plus drivers. every
Miata's been
weekend.
popular since. I mean, we're talking over 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
It's been the shit.
It's always going to be a solid class, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think we looked at the end of the race at Daytona at the beginning of this year, and it was like a 3-wide photo finish. It was
Right.
super, super cool.
Never mind it. What it affects for the ladder. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, and obviously that's a lot more cost efficient too, right?
Does anybody? Do you know what it costs to do a Miata season?
No idea.
Yeah,
no.
me neither.
But
Probably not $500,000.
no, definitely not.
From talking to Casey Cook and the Hicks and a few other guys,
Right,
like
because they do it the quote club level, NASA and things like that. Yeah,
it sounds
SCCA.
like it's close to if you're going to go do a arrive and drive tag race,
Yeah.
like a K100 status for a club, it's going to be close to what you'd pay for that. So maybe $2,000 to $2,500 a weekend.
No.
Well, and of course that's not buying the car or anything, but after entry fee, after getting tires.
Is that it?
Yeah,
That's
they
crazy,
said it's
isn't it?
close to what you're going to pay for a tag race at a club.
Because I know I was up when we were up in Sonoma. I was there, and a buddy of ours that runs sport carts. He also does Miata up there. He bought the car and then runs with the team. I want to say he spent less than $8,000.
Nice.
Less than $8,000 for a top 5 Miata that runs at Sonoma.
Nice.
I mean, he's a top 5 driver. I mean, he's solid.
Yeah.
But still, $8,000, which is the same as a go-kart.
yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're going to get a brand new go-kart with a brand new, say, X30 or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
It's about
And-
right.
By
And
the
now
end of
you're-
it, yeah, for sure.
The most
Getting it
expensive
built.
thing is the tires.
Mm.
The tires are like $600 to $800 a set, and you do need a new set every time. So your consumables are higher, but for something that is very, very close to the same cost as karting, it's not too crazy to see like the Teen Challenge thing that NASA's doing with the Miata deal. It's kind of blowing up.
Well, and when I went and saw Casey race at the last LA Casey weekend
Here at
here,
Auto Club.
it was at Auto Club, right? The entry is like $400, and it's 2 days of racing
And a practice day, no?
and a practice day. And then he's like, "Yeah, new set of tires. After you get them mounted, probably about $800 to $1,000. After you pay the guy to get them mounted and whatnot." And he goes, and I had however many gallons of gas? I burned 3 gallons in the weekend, something like that.
3 gallons.
No, probably not 3 gallons.
30.
No, he didn't.
There's a
burn.
lot of wide open going on in the Auto Club.
It,
mate.
well,
Casey Cook, we need you on the show.
I can't remember what he said. It was something not ridiculous though for how much he didn't burn, because it's just standard pump gas that they ran in the thing.
Shit, dude, the thing carries 15.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So to your point, all joking aside, it can't be a ton.
And
30 miles to the gallon. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's to your point on a track where they're that flat out.
It's probably not 30 miles to the gallon on a race car.
On a race, yeah, but no, the Miata stuff looks like fun, and I think at the end of the day, to your point now, you're more about having fun.
Yeah.
You can move up the ladder if you want and still try to make it stress-free or less stress if you want.
Yeah, for sure.
And even if I were to find the stuff, go fork up the money to go race the Miata, I'm like, that's going to be fun, because whether I'm at the back, the middle, or the front, I'm racing somebody.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun as shit.
That's what's cool looking at those races, right? There's so many people in that field.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be around someone, right? And especially those cars being so draft dependent.
Yeah.
Especially at the tracks that they go to. So if you're by yourself, you'll get caught up by someone or just get pushed by someone. So
and that's why our arrive drive is so damn popular.
Yeah.
Because you get 90 people that showed up. Now we have 30 or so on course. But you're always racing somebody.
Yeah. Someone's always right there to go chase, or someone's right next to you to race.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that's why, we've heard it before, seen it before. Numbers breed numbers.
Yeah.
At Tracy, we had 28 people in the Masters class. Everybody's racing somebody. Doesn't matter how it goes, Yeah. And that's why I think part of the allure of, say, a Pro Tour or whatever, it's the top-level thing. But the fact that you get a chance to not only race against, you're definitely racing against somebody.
Yeah.
But you're also able to measure yourself against some of the best in the country.
Yeah.
If not the world at that point, then that's pretty damn cool as well. Looking to the future here, that car deal you're talking about, 2019, 2020 was a bit of an off year for everybody involved, obviously.
For some weird reason.
Yeah.
Can't remember why.
But you'd mentioned you're quote an adult now, right? You're moving through the what am I going to do moving forward kind of game. Doing some coaching, doing some different things, doing a little bit of racing is what you're still doing the Pro Tour, still doing some racing things like that where you're relevant in the game. Have you thought about what you're going to do here in the racing industry as a driver? Or maybe for work or anything like that as you move forward?
I think right now I kind of just want to stick to the whole karting world and working with young drivers or helping out anyone that I can. When I had a really fun weekend when I went out to Rio last year at the end of 2020, helping out for Rock the Rio at Forward Direction Motorsports with Greg Welch.
I was just with them at Sonoma. They're awesome.
Yeah, lovely, lovely people. They're super high energy, super positive. Love those guys. And I really enjoyed, helping them out, just being their data guy, not necessarily being carefree about my job, but a little less stressful, right? Mm-hmm. Just being like, hey, you guys need to work on this and things like that. And it was cool seeing the fruit of my work kind of going well, because those guys maybe weren't, I won't discredit them or anything, but they probably maybe weren't the best drivers, but they had top 10 pace almost all weekend. Yeah. So it was cool seeing them, be that fast. And
after just getting a chance to hang out with them, they take it as serious as everybody else.
Yeah.
But the seriousness is about the goal, not about every minute of the day while they're in the tent. And they have a good time, and they're laughing and joking around. And I think kind of what you had mentioned before about the pressure and different stuff, it's the mental thought process, it's the mentality, it's the what kind of vibe am I carrying?
Yeah.
And if you're carrying a good vibe at the tent, it's probably going to spill over onto the track.
Yeah, I think Greg Welch does a really good job of that. He's
right.
If you look at the guy, he almost always has a smile on his face.
Yeah, it's actually it's a bit of a muscle twitch. He doesn't have it. I'm just kidding. But for sure, it starts at the top.
Yeah,
like you said.
No, for sure. I think also I'll give a little shout out to Nash Motorsports. I think they do a really good job of that as well. They always make it feel like a family too. So they're always including everyone, including the driver, including all the mechanics and things like that. They all talk as a unit. So
I got a chance to run with them at SuperNats, and I'll tell you right now, I don't think there's anybody who takes that I've been around, at least here in SoCal. I don't think there's anybody that is so they wear the event or they wear their intentions on their sleeve as much as Nash.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't just mean Seth. I mean everybody that works under that tent. They mean the best and push for the best for their customers.
Yeah.
And you're saying like, yeah, they have a good old time. They do have a good time. They do have a good time.
Oh yeah.
After and before the race is going on, because once the race is going on, baby, it's go time.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're great people. I like them a lot too.
Yeah, love the guys.
You've had a chance to do a lot of racing, whether it's been the karting or the cars, but you've had a lot of opportunity to go and travel and see club level all the way to national racing. And I like talking about this topic because it kind of goes back to grassroots stuff when talking to other guests on the show. But the X30 versus the KA, what do you like about one versus the other? Or just 100cc racing?
I feel like KA racing, or 100cc in general, like you said, is a lot more closer, and it's a lot more side-to-side, right? You can do a lot of, let's say, out-of-nowhere stuff, right? You can kind of throw it in and really be a little bit more aggressive with it, whereas the X30 is a little bit more precise. Right, it's a little bit more about consistency, about turning good laps every single way of the race. So there's pros and cons to it, right? Like when I first got on the K, I love the K, right? Because you can really throw it around, you can have fun with it. It's a very, I think especially around that time, like personally, I was, like I said, trying to have fun with it. So when I first started driving that, I had quite a lot of fun just throwing that go-kart around. And then once I got back into the X30, right, preparing for Pro Tour, I was like, damn, I missed this thing. Because it was fast, right? Yeah. And I can be what I'm good at, which is being very precise, being very consistent. So I enjoy that quite a bit too.
What I thought was interesting too, to add to his point, was when I did the SuperNats in X30, it was my very first time on the red tire,
right,
on the softer tire. And so I was like, oh, a little more grip. I got a little more leeway or whatever. I actually found that, this is hindsight 2020, but on the harder tire, on the blue tire, I had more leeway on it because it would rotate and float more or whatever. Whereas the softer tire, where I thought that I got more grip so I could do more different things or whatever, if I mess it up a little bit, I'll be all right. It was actually the opposite. Mm-hmm. If I abuse the tire or if I am not precise, then the driver that is that much better because he is utilizing the grip that's there.
He's getting more out of it.
Yeah. So I know when I went there, I mean, Derek, I told you as well, it's like I am losing a chunk of speed from turn into apex on this tire because I am either under or over utilizing it across the board. My way of driving the blue tire all year just wasn't cutting it, and I got decently quick, but it was like Dante, like you said, it took me all weekend, and I got there and the weekend's over already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah. I thought that it would be one way, and no, if you are dead nuts precise, the soft tire, you're going to get the most out of it.
Yeah, I think with the softer tire, there's more grip to it, but if you're not at that limit, then you're just underdriving it, right? You're not going as fast as you can be.
Yeah.
Or if you're going too hard, then you're just going to overheat the tire, and then now you decrease your limit, right?
You put 1 or 2 laps in or badass, but then the tire's way too hot, and you just go backwards.
Yeah.
I think also I will say a factor of it, not really a cool factor of it, but that tire specifically, you have 1 or 2 laps to turn a good lap time, and that's it.
For qualifying.
On the red.
Yeah. I think when we did the, I think it was Spring Nationals in Phoenix for the X30 Senior, when I won that as well, we had literally 1 lap to do it. And that was it. We go out, do 1 lap, and pull in, and that was it.
Wow. Like the warm-up?
The warm-up,
and then run the lap,
and then pull in. And that was it.
You know why? That's awesome. Green, white, checkered qualifying. Yeah. Come on.
And hey,
you can just call it green checkered.
Yeah.
When back to the SoCal days, I don't think they did it then. SoCal Sprinter days. Maybe they used to do it back then, or some other club or whatever. But they did that a lot, or at least that was one thing I focused on when I was a kid as well, was being able to turn that lap right out of the gate. Especially with Chris too. We always worked on that quite a bit. Was not taking forever to get up to speed, right?
Whether it's qualifying or starting the race,
right?
If you can be good on that first lap or two, you're going to be able to make some stuff happen.
Yeah, and then as I got better with that, it was being that fast while on low tire pressures.
Yeah.
So
God, that's something I'm not good at. Like
No, and that
I'm
was
good
what-
at cold tires. The low pressure thing, man, I have a hard
it's
time
hard.
on that.
It's
man.
not easy.
Well, no, it's funny. That was what you were talking with me about at Tri-C. I'm like, here's what I'm thinking. You're like, well, if I was in it, that's what I'd be doing. I'm like, well, I don't have as much seat time as you do. So I'm like, and that was the point though, was I'm like, it's all comfort, right?
Yeah.
So it's first few laps, and I told him, like, dude, I got to be comfortable to get the cart through the track and still be semi-quick. And he was talking about the lower pressures, on all four. I'm like, ugh.
You know what's the tough
wish.
thing about the lower pressures isn't the lower grip, it's the squat.
Yep.
That's what gets me, the squat. I like to lean on the tire, and the squat gets you. It leans and goes whop.
Yeah,
and it gives
gives
you the
up.
finger. Lot. That's a technical term, but no, it's and there's guys that are stupid. You were definitely running here, but I don't know what class. Might have been minis, might have been junior. Remember when we had that shit ass slurry here at
Yes.
Cal Speed?
Yep.
And dude, shifters are running 3.5 pounds.
No way. Way back then?
3.5
Yeah.
pounds.
Jesus.
Yeah. And
That's crazy.
You dude, we would have there'd be marks on the ground from the rim on the ground.
Hitting
These
the-
lines from
3.5.
3.5 pounds starting pressure for the shifters back in the
That's
day.
crazy.
And they were fast as shit.
yeah.
They were so fast because you couldn't get any side bite.
Yeah.
The track sucks so bad because of the slurry back then. It's like 2012, I think it was. That they were like, "What? How do we get side bite?" Well, dump the pressure out of the
Drop
tire.
the shit out of it, yeah.
It's nuts.
I don't,
But
think, I don't think I've ever gone lower than like 6.
The lowest I've gone was at Challenge. I did 7, and I'm like,
I'm
that was way different.
I'm, I'm fat, and I'm in masters.
Wait, you're-
so. Oh, you.
I'm kidding.
So,
Damn.
so I'm scared to go below 8, and I've tried it, and I think it's.
And dude, I'm
I'm not saying it doesn't work because I know other guys do.
Yeah.
But this guy can't. I can't
Nah.
drive 8. I got to be. I want to say it. I don't think I've driven like whether it be a Levanto or a Blue or I don't think I barely go below double digits, barely.
I mean, I think it comes all down to the first few laps is comfort, and then after that, it's can the driver manage a tire?
Yep.
To what you guys are saying about
Yeah.
overheating the run and stuff. If you
I
know,
also have a problem with that too.
well, and if you know what you got, and you can drive it the right way, then
Yeah.
the pressure's going to work.
Yeah.
It all
But-
comes down to preference, right?
And the other thing is how long the race is, right? So these club races,
For
we're
sure.
doing 16, 18 laps. Bro, you're doing like
Pro Tour is like
22,
25 laps,
25
yeah.
laps at,
Like
at
the
Indiana.
the mains for Indiana, are you like, dude, throw the greener or throw the checkered already? Excuse me. Are
But
you-
he
are you-
loves Indiana.
Are
We
you-
heard it. He loves that place.
Are you pretty good? You obviously you keep yourself in good shape. That was the thing you mentioned earlier. Like, yeah, maybe a little short, maybe a little chubby, but I can last the race.
Yeah.
Has there? I mean, turning laps is probably no problem for you. How do you feel mentally after the race, where you're like, I'm doing some serious racing, trying to outsmart these guys?
I think if I'm like constantly going at it, like back and forth, blocking, blah blah blah, all that, then it does take a toll on you.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm, if I have time to breathe, take my time, think of a strategy, then I'm okay. I haven't really had a time, honestly.
You're
where
pretty
I'm
solid throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
then. Nice.
Yeah, I think, kind of connecting it with playing games and all that. I can play games for hours and be fine. So I think some of that helps with
okay.
a little bit of mental fortitude.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're probably playing a little autopilot on that too.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
There's some
Just
stuff like,
doing.
you
Yeah.
need to,
Yeah.
we're going to try something. We got to do something hardcore. But other stuff, like you mentioned earlier, knowing,
Yeah,
that's autopilot.
yeah.
You're not even trying at that point.
Right.
That reminds me of, you actually did the Machismo
Yeah.
for the first time, I want to say this is last December.
Yeah, last year.
How did you hear about it? And B, what was your,
What was your
experience?
take on it?
Yeah.
I've always heard about it ever since I was pretty young. I've always heard that there was some sort of 12-hour race that started in the morning and went on till the night. And I always thought it was cool, like some sort of endurance karting event. Because I always knew, right, like car stuff, always did all these endurance stuff.
Right.
But before that, I've never heard of any sort of karting endurance race. So I was like, oh, wow, this is really, really cool. And it wasn't until last year, this one just random guy, I'd never heard of his name before, but he knew me, and he was like, "Hey, man, we're looking for one more driver. Do you want to come out?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." Like, because they're like, "Oh, yeah, we'll pay for everything."
You just randomly got contacted.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Yeah. How did
Ayrton?
Yeah.
DeMoss?
Aaron DeMoss, yeah.
How did Ayrton DeMoss know about Dante Yu?
I have no
Everyone
idea.
knows about Dante
You never
Yu.
asked him?
I never asked him.
Ayrton DeMoss, if you... I don't think he listens to the show.
No, to be fair, Dante, in all reality, Dante is a more well-named in the senior category. So
Yeah?
that's just the reality of it.
Yeah? I don't know why. I have no idea why Ayrton would know you.
No,
aside from just you being a badass in senior karts, but...
Yeah. He literally just DM'd me on Instagram, was like, "Hey, man, do you want to run Machismo with us?" And I was like,
You were going through
Sure.
the rest of the DMs, you're like, no, I don't want to race there. I don't want to race there. You're like, but she's I'm
offers.
in.
I'm in. Yeah. Europe, nah.
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, so Ayrton hits you up,
You say
And-
yes.
and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, all right, I'll try it out. But you weren't like, it wasn't like on your radar. You knew about it or whatever.
Yeah. I think actually I think it was in 2018 I made a Facebook post about it. I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of interested in doing the Machismo."
Okay.
So I was like,
I think I remember seeing that.
I got hit up by Billy and was like, "Oh yeah, we can run with you if you want." And then I kind of chickened out of it. I was like, "Nah, I'm okay." Because I don't know, for whatever reason, I just didn't feel like doing it. And then this year I was like, "You know what? Screw it. I'll do it because why not, right? I'll have the experience. It's an endurance race.
It's
why
like
not?"
Europe,
Yeah.
basically.
And that was,
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was talking to you, and you're like, "Yeah, I've never driven a 206 before." I'm like, "Well, you're about to do like 3 to 4 hours in it, you know." So
right.
I think the only thing close I'd done to it was I did like one arrive and drive thing for a normal Cal Speed practice day.
oh, you just hopped in a rental session
Yeah,
then.
just
Gotcha.
just for fun because I think my cousins from South Carolina were here, so I just did that once, and that was like the only thing close to an LO206 that I've done ever.
What'd you think? Yeah, I mean,
It was fun actually. I got a lot more track time
Well,
than I
hold
thought
on.
I would.
You said it was fun, actually.
Yeah.
So you're going into it like you're going to be in the 206. Did you know that was the quote pro class? Did you know you were the faster class? Did you know you're going to be passing more than being passed? Like, what was the?
what'd you know going into it?
Yeah, what'd you know going in, and did it meet or exceed expectations, or what'd you have in your head?
I knew I was in the pro class. I knew I was going to be in the faster 206 compared to the arrive and drive stuff. I knew that
Okay.
was faster. I didn't know what kind of tire I would be on.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time I drove those Maxxis tires and the Hoosier tires.
Yeah. So you got a chance to do both.
Yeah.
Got it.
And it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. Because, you know, like I thought it was going to be like, I'm just going to run all these laps. It's not going to be that exciting. I'm just going to come out here and drive. But yeah, I think being in that faster class, I was able to, you know, constantly be passing people. So I think that really entertained me for the next like 2.5 hours that I was in the cart.
You always got a cart to go past.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
That's what's something I've always said about the Machismo. If you're in the pro class, I guess it's part of my carrot too to people like yourself or Billy Musgrave or anybody who's a competition karter. If you're in the pro class, let's say you're 17 laps down,
Yeah.
you're still passing people
Right.
nonstop. Like you can't help but be entertained because you're the fastest thing on track.
Right.
So the entertainment factor is negotiating the course, which I like to think is pretty fun, and passing people left and right.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was a good experience for sure. And yeah, like you said, being in that pro class was definitely able to pass people for, you know, 2.5 hours. I think towards the last half hour, I definitely my mind started to go a little bit because I've never driven the longest I've ever driven a go-kart for like a consecutive amount of time was probably 25 minutes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And how long were you in the seat for the
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, Derek and I did the original tire test
Yeah.
for the Maxxis and the Hoosiers. So with the pro class, for those who don't know, is there was two different tires, prime and option, the harder and softer. Mm-hmm. And you start on the harder and you finish on the harder. You have to change the softer. Anyway, point being, we had to figure out the tire wear. So him and I had to do the original tire test. So we were in the seat for a while.
We
and all by ourselves. Nobody else was here. Just us on track, burning down laps.
And we get done with that first day, and we're like, okay, the tire was good. And the next day, we're like, oh, we got to test out the option. And we show up, we're like, oh, like we were feeling it. And by the end of it, we figure it out. We get the numbers down. But, like, man, the two of us just did like a 12-hour and then some.
Yeah.
But it's just such a different mindset you got to have. And to your point, like,
were you doing anything to keep yourself motivated? I had the music, and then my music turned off.
Oh, no.
I didn't do that.
And my lap timer died. So I got nothing.
I couldn't do the music.
You want to talk about what's going to be for dinner?
I think I did the music the first day, and the second day, I just got annoyed with my earbuds in. Like, they started moving a little bit.
That's different too, yeah.
They started moving a little bit, so I'm like, screw it. I'll just go drive, and I'll figure it out.
You were just driving?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I just
with nothing to do.
I just kept
turning laps.
I just kept thinking about
At
random
least
shit.
In the race, you got to carry it.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to carry it.
But to your point, like, the longest you've driven was, 25 minutes or whatever in a sprint race, X30, all that stuff. I mean, it's such a different mindset you got to have.
What about physical?
Yeah.
I mean,
Didn't get that tired.
Yeah, so that part was fine. It was the brain power.
It was the brain.
Yeah.
How'd you like the track, actually? Because it's a one-off track you see that for that event.
Yeah, I actually.
And
liked
you've never
it quite a
been
bit.
at Cal Speed under the lights.
No, yeah, exactly. It was actually pretty cool. It definitely lit up a lot more than I thought it would, which is really nice. There were some dark parts, but it wasn't that dangerous at all. The track was really cool, actually. I really enjoyed the whole right by the pits, that little hairpin bit. It was cool. It's a little different, right? It's something I had to learn again, so it was refreshing for sure.
Yeah, and not being in the 206 before, so you're learning the track, learning the kart, and be with a team that, hey, I'm Dante. You messaged me.
I showed up here and I'm like, what does the guy look like?
No,
that's
dude,
awesome.
no shit. Dante shows up. I had no idea he was running. Dante shows up. I'm like, are you lost? What are you?
Yeah.
What are you
we're
doing?
closed today. Yeah, for practice.
That's not it. And I found out he was with DeMoss and Co. and whatnot. And you guys ended up on the podium, no?
Yeah, or I think we got second actually.
Second.
Yeah, it was
Nice.
cool.
Oh, man.
I had a pretty good run when I went out. I think we got 4 or 5 laps ahead, so that was cool. I went out thankfully on the Hoosier tire.
Able to make up some time then. Yeah.
Made up some pretty good time. I ran like real consistent laps throughout the whole 2 hours.
You ran both tires?
Yes. So at the end of the race, due to I think it was fuel, or I think it was, we had to stop one more time.
Make another stop.
Make another stop. And also because the guy that was in second, they were catching us, and we were like, okay, well, let's put our best driver in there to try to stay ahead, or at least
and
catch
they
back
put
up.
you.
They
you
put
in
me in it.
Oh wow!
Can't believe that.
I guess I was the best driver. Who knows? They put me back in. We ended up falling behind them because we stopped. So being on that Maxxis tire, it's quite a lot less grip than compared to the Hoosier.
Right.
So we weren't able to catch back up, but it was still a close finish for sure.
Yeah. Again, coming from somebody who doesn't do that kind of thing. You don't do any kind of drive and drive around like that, but even the type of course is a bit more twisty than we would have for a competition karter. Plus the day to night transition and stuff like that. I mean, did you feel a difference in the track as the day went on and things changed?
Definitely as it got colder, the kart works a little bit better because it's a colder temperature. Tires don't heat up as quick, so you're able to put a little bit more speed into it. As you know, any driver who's driven at a night track would know there's a little bit more grip when it's cooler.
Yeah.
So
what's interesting too with the hard compound stuff is actually we get a little less grip because the heat isn't there.
Yeah.
It takes a while for that heat to come up, and then you start getting a little something.
I'll agree with that.
But then when you
once
get
it gets there,
oh, baby, here we go. Now we're fast.
Yeah.
Because you got power, too.
Yeah.
You're getting that cold air power. But at the beginning, so not as much on the 206, but actually, if you were to come in on a 206 and you switch to the Maxxis tire that's been sitting on the side.
Yep.
Oh,
for
man.
however many hours.
Yeah.
And it's ambient temperature. That's the business.
Yeah.
That's going to be so slick. Or anybody in the super sport class that switches, they're going to get that cold tire kind of game.
Yeah.
And it sucks
Yeah.
out of the gate, but then gets better and better and better and better as you go.
I think for me, the guy who was out on the track before me, he was already running the Maxxis tire, so it was already pretty warmed up and everything. So I didn't really have to deal with that. But, I mean, I still had to deal with I was on the Hoosier tire, and then I went to the Maxxis tires.
Even the best conditions for Maxxis ain't going to match the
No, not even
Hoosier.
close.
Yeah.
So, it like, going through some of the corners, I'd be, like, almost four-wheel sliding.
Right.
It was pretty tough.
Yeah, it's just sitting on top of the surface the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Next time you go, I want to see Dante hit, Hoosier tire, option tire at its best. Cold Maxxis, same driver. Let's go.
Yeah.
See what's happening. That's gotta be pretty cool though. You're just like hanging out on the Bookdale face, and whatnot, and then you get an opportunity like that. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it was a good experience, good fun. And, we ended up having a pretty solid result as well. So it was awesome.
You already have
actually really
plans
enjoyed the weekend.
for 2021? You going to be back in the seat?
We'll see. Aaron already had he kind of, at the end of the weekend, he was like, hey, we'll be back for next year, right? And I was like, maybe? Sure. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how I feel by the end of the year.
You definitely showed up on the right year, dude. That was, I mean, yourself and Jake Drew are out there, some top karters.
Yeah.
And we
It hurt.
legit had like so
Yeah, I
many
was gonna
freaking
say-
pros out there that year.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Lamont, we had
Pat
Herta,
Long.
we had Pat Long. We also had
Alberico.
Alberico was there.
Oh, Liberante.
Oh my gosh.
The guy from Rockstar. I forget his name.
Yeah.
Lassick and Faust.
Classic.
Faust,
But
yeah.
no, I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, I know who you're thinking of.
Menezes.
Yes, Gustavo.
Gustavo.
Menezes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, when you're rolling the track with a Le Mans winner
Yeah.
and, Drift
Factory
Kings
Porsche
and
driver,
Rallycross badasses and IndyCar P3. I mean, come on. And, by the way, Dante Yu's here there too.
And it's funny, those
It's
guys
awesome.
those guys are like, man, the good karters are out.
Well,
in all honesty, like those guys are like, oh man, there's actual legit people here.
And you talk to a Pat Long who's done this event a few times. He's done the Machismo a few times, and he'll tell you, it's like, no, yeah, okay, obviously Pat Long, Le Mans, he knows what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
But he's like, these guys do this all the time. Like, I'm not pretending like I'm gonna automatically beat everybody.
Yeah.
The respect is there.
Right. Of course.
Wait, for you, somebody who has not done the arrive and drive, when you came into it, were you surprised, or did you take? I mean, your teammates were arrive and drivers.
Yeah.
What did you take into account, or did you even think about the fact that there's a competition karting, sport karting split, if you will?
No. I mean,
They're
I
just
kinda,
karters.
Yeah, they're just karters to me, and
Wow.
I honestly didn't really think about my competition. I just kind of, I worked on myself.
Nice.
I try to figure out how the engine runs, how hard I can drive into the corner, and how to adapt to
Give them the best of
grid.
you.
Yeah, exactly. I worked more on myself really than anyone else, and all I really looked at from them was just how fast they were going. And obviously, because they have more experience than me, they were going faster than me right at the gate. And I think before qualifying, I was just like a 10th off or a 10th. Yeah, just right there basically.
In that practice, it was the first time you've been into a 6 period.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a switch because
Yeah.
you've been going fast for a while.
Yeah.
Now you're going not fast. Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's a different discipline.
Yeah.
Carrying the speed,
Way
etc.
different.
Yeah. What would be the challenges, real quick? Maybe the last point on the Machismo. What are the challenges as a driver that's used to going fast, going not fast?
It's a lot about doing the best you can to not scrub any speed. The littlest things that you would never really think of, scrub just that little bit of speed that can really cost you going up. Like, especially when you make that last Scandi corner going up the hill.
Right.
There's some little things, like you hit a bump wrong, or
If you have a little bit of a slide, it sets wrong. Yeah.
especially like you're sitting behind another 206, and then you see them gap you, and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one reason why that happened.
Yeah.
I effed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's because before that corner, right, we're talking about the triple right, what I like to call Istanbul or Turkey,
Yeah.
turn 8, and then the
Double
twins,
hairpins.
A lot of
Yeah, the
people call them
hairpin
the
left,
twins,
right.
the left, right, and then up the hill.
Yep.
But like you said, it kind of starts back on that double or that triple right.
Yeah.
If you don't get it, the entry court,
It all leads up to it, right?
Exactly.
And it's
Yeah.
all about your line. If you don't get set up for the double rights, right?
Mhm.
Then you don't have the right line going into the left. Then now you're too narrow for the right.
yeah.
Yeah. It just compounds the mistakes, right?
Yeah, it's all the rhythm section.
And You know, it's funny. So you're talking about like just scrubbing least mass speed in every small thing. That was the same thing we talked about with Matt Johnson when we raced him in 206. He goes, when I went back from that and he was getting ready for X30 at SuperNats, he's like, I paid attention to every little thing that much more just because I could feel it more.
Exactly.
He goes, you're going that slow, you can really pay attention to that, especially for the two-stroke experience guys like yourself. You have time and you have feel to feel out stuff through the corner. You can really get the most out of it now.
Yeah. Guys like Matt Johnson and John Crow.
Yeah,
both
same deal.
They had extensive 206 experience. Now you've gotten a chance to do 206 as well. You start looking at all that kind of stuff going, like that little thing that I thought I was really good at, I'm like, there's a little bit of a scrub right there. So now you can fine-tune that little piece and get a little extra.
Yeah.
If we move down the lane a little bit here for Dante Yu, I mean, you got a chance to do all kinds of cool stuff, bud. I mean, from your work up from starting with Troy Adams and kid karts, doing cadets, traveling all over the United States with the Pro Tour from cadets to juniors to seniors, going over to Europe, and even getting into cars.
Yeah.
Is there anything out there that like, man, I wish I got a chance to do a little something more. Like when you were in Europe, for instance, is there something over there like, God, I wish I had a little bit more time or tried that again? And then you're not an old guy. Like, you're a young man. You got a chance to do a lot more stuff. Is there a chance for you to do more of those things?
I think going into the karting stuff in Europe, I feel like I would like to have another shot at going to do over some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think I have a little bit more experience, a different mindset, I guess, these days. So I would like to give it another shot. Maybe down the road, I could get into more car stuff, right? Give that another go as well. But currently, that's not something I'm super interested in. Mm-hmm. But right now, I'm kind of cool where I am, doing the stuff in the U.S., the national stuff, local, helping out local people. So I'm okay where I am. But if I had another chance, I'd definitely go do some karting over in Europe for sure.
What is it about the European deal that draws you?
It's just, it's the best of the best, right? Whether that's it's all those European guys, right? It's all world champions. It's all these guys who have experience. And I feel like the main difference when you look at American drivers and European drivers, it's not really the skill level. Like, we're as good as they are, but they do it every single week, and they are at the track all day long, right? Whether that's working on a go-kart or driving the thing, testing out engines, all that. They live and breathe karting.
It's a business, like we said earlier.
Yeah. Like, you look at us and like, yeah, it's a business for us too, but they do it way more intensely than we do. So it's quite a bit different for sure.
Right.
In that sense.
Here we are in 2021, and we're recording this halfway through April. We've already done the Pro Tour. We got Pro Karts coming up and a few different things. What's on the docket for Dante Yu right now?
Right now, we're going to do the next ProKart Challenge race in Buttonwillow, and then I think we'll probably do the double header Cal Speed race here, looking at also the rest of the Pro Tour season, so that'll be fun. Probably also do SuperNats, more than likely do SuperNats. I don't think I'll do Rock the Rio, but I'll probably be there if I have the opportunity to work. And yeah, I think I'll be helping out Troy Adams more than likely at all the LAKC and the Tri-C stuff. Yeah, that should be my year.
We talked about you don't have a 9 to 5. You're doing the fun stuff with the esports and that kinds of stuff. Before I start to put a point on that, on the racing side of things, are you trying to find a little something you can do in the industry as far as 9 to 5, if you will? And does some of this start to play into that a little bit as you move through the year?
Right now, it's for me, it's all about just having, I guess, life experiences.
Okay.
And just meeting people, right? Just creating, I guess, my own little personality, if you will. I'm still young, so I'm still kind of figuring out who I am, I guess.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is just meeting people and creating relationships and just
seeing what happens.
Yeah. See how people run things, I guess, and just seeing how I want to go about my life.
Well,
nice.
and part of who you are is obviously that, like I said, that esports thing and being part of the online community and part of the online competition and things like that, and trying to find out how you fit in that game. As we put an end to this thing, as you start going into the rest of the year with this online community and stuff like that, what is the end goal for you? I mean, we talked about the fact that, okay, you don't have the 9 to 5, I'm not doing school yet. What's Dante Yu here in another 5 years, 10 years?
Honestly, I don't know, because I don't, like I said, I don't like looking, like I said before, I don't like looking too much into the future, right? So I just go day by day. And for me right now, it's looking at the next race as well as looking at what's going on in the esports world, right? Right now we have all the, like I said way earlier in the podcast, the VCT thing that's going on for the Valorant game. So it's looking and seeing how those guys are doing, how that's all shaping up, and just keeping tabs on that. And maybe down the future, whether I probably won't be a pro player. I'm not that good at the video game to do that, but I would like to be some sort of, what's called a caster, like I said earlier on the podcast. So essentially a commentator for esports,
right?
Or some sort of writer who keeps up on stories on different players, different teams.
On the journalism side of things.
Yeah, journalism side of things. I do enjoy that quite a bit. I like to think I can write a decent amount. So
nice.
Yeah, I can do something like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dante, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
this has been a good time. Cool. Right? Well, you and I have not shared a whole lot. You've always been kind of a fairly quiet dude in the paddock to me.
For sure.
And I mean, now getting to know you a little bit over the last couple of hours, it makes sense. And you're a pretty cool cat. And I appreciate you coming over here and hanging out with Derek and I. And this has been a lot of fun. And
of course,
I'm looking forward to seeing you at the track and seeing what happens with you.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for coming out.
Of course. Appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.